What's poppin', people? It's your girl Spring. Sit back and relax. You are now rocking with the best. Welcome to Excelsior Now podcast, where we take your favorite guest and get to know the person behind the keyboard. So grab your popcorn, get those fiery trash emojis ready, and enjoy the show. This is your Doom Squad brand ambassador Spring, and you know the motto: let the good times roll.
Excelsior Now podcast.
What's shaking, people? It's your boy Doom Killer HD. Sit back and relax. You are now rocking with the best, and it is the 25th episode special, the Avengers Summit. Y'all know it is about to go down. We got some of the hottest content creators, two of the hottest devs in the game right now. Right now, it's about to go down, people. So without further ado, let's bring on the Birdman himself first. Let's introduce my twin, Mr. Sadat the Gamer. Welcome to the stream. Say hello to the people.
Hello, salutations, what it do, Durag Nation, and everybody in the DSG fam. What's up? It's about to go down, bro.
Yo! Let's get it. Next up, we have the queen of the team. Y'all already know as Alien Fodder, but y'all know in DSG, that's Miss Alien Fire. Bring on the queen. Let's go. Say hello to the people.
Oh my God, hi.
Yes,
Hello, my lovelies.
Ooh, you ready, Alien?
Oh my God, yes.
Yes,
Totally.
indeed. Another member of DSG. This is like a DSG party right now. We've got Miss Squirrel Girl herself. Cute little Chaos Kitty. Bring it on. Let's go. Say hello to the people.
Yo, everybody.
Let's get it. And a great friend of the channel. He's probably going to be a member one of these days. I don't know. But we talk all the time. Anyway, my guy, the rocker himself. You are now rocking with the best, Mr. Johnny Rocker. Say hello to the people.
What's going on, fam? You guys are ready.
You ready? You got the Birdman hands ready. Let's
Go.
go. All right. Okay. Now, I talked to this dude probably more than anybody else in the industry. I consider him a friend now. Last time, remember I said, I don't really know if I consider him a friend yet. He's cool people. I consider this man a friend. Somebody who I enjoy chopping it up with, who always likes to give me trash when we do talk. My good buddy, Mr. AJ, welcome to the stream. Say hello to the people.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Man, no problem at all. Last but not least, everybody's favorite combat dev. I should not really combat, but he's the gear guy, the gear master, the man behind all of the... When you hit somebody and everything is just spreading everywhere, that's this guy right here.
Firework.
Alex K. Let's go. How you doing, boss? Say hello to the people.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for having me back.
Man,
Thank you for being here.
It is a pleasure. I kid you not. Well, people, it is time. I hope everybody has their popcorn. I didn't forget mine this time. I did not forget. No. But it's about to go down. Oh, look at this. They already started. Alex the GOAT. That's, look, hypothetical Alex. You feel me? Hypothetical AJ. Look. Let's go, people. Let's get it. And yes, we do have a hypothetical section, people. We do. Don't worry, Chad. We got y'all. First up, communication. And this is... We're going down the line. We're not treating the devs like they aren't a part of the round table. They are a part of this round table as well. So you guys just sit back and relax because you're a part of the show. All right, communication. It's been great lately to me. I'm enjoying it. I actually got a couple of likes from the Play Avengers Twitter feed, I was like, oh, who is that? Hey, how you doing? So that was fire. I'm gonna ask you first, twin, and I want to put you last because you crazy, and don't look at me like that. Do not look at me like that. No sir, no. You know you're crazy, bro. You crazy. So we gonna leave you last. We'll put the queen up top real quick. Okay, Queen, we're going to start with you and not my twin because he's crazy. But anyways, communication, I personally think it's been good. And I've seen a couple of your tweets in relation to how good the communication has
Then
been.
you know. I mean, I was
Different audience, alien. They don't know. You about to tell them though, right?
Yeah.
Let's go, baby. How do you feel about the communication right now?
very, very, very happy. I wasn't expecting to. Well, I don't know if it's a new community manager, but whoever that person is, they just jumped in, and it makes such a difference. It's not just the likes. Like there were replies from the official account, which I had never seen before, and it may sound like not much, but to me, it was amazing. Like I was very happy, and in interacting with the community in that way is so important. I mean, maybe they just realized it. It doesn't need to be much. Like, they don't have to give away secrets or anything. Just, to let us know that they're there and that they're, that they care.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
Cute little chaos kitty. Can you even follow that up?
Sure she can.
Right now, I would say communication is really good. I like it. I love it. I love the replies. I haven't seen those before either. Really good. I just hope we're gonna keep this once patch 2.3 is finally out, that we can keep that kind of communication at least on a minimum level. Because we have seen communication spikes whenever there's a new patch. There's a lot to talk about, obviously. But after that, there's usually this large emptiness, the darkness that happens. And I just hope we don't get to see that again.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. My dude, Jay Rocker, what you got for me, bro?
I tell you what, it's a blast to see the interaction, right? I was like alien fodder, seeing the likes going down, seeing actual replies, and, human level interaction like that, unscripted interaction really goes a long way with a community that is as passionate about this game and Marvel. And I also think too, like seeing Brian and seeing these guys, kind of stepping away from the corporate speak a little bit and talking to folks like real folks is really, really making a difference, right? It humanizes everybody, and it kind of breaks down that barrier of the screen, right? So I think everything's moving in the right direction.
Okay.
So big ups.
Yes, indeed. AJ.
Hello.
Communication, bro. I mean, this is probably a weird question from you from the inside, but
It is.
I hear you. But we on the outside are enjoying, well, at least everybody we've talked to so far. I don't know about this crazy guy down here yet, but we'll get to him in a
He's
few.
wild.
But anyway, we've all been enjoying it, bro. I guess my question to you would be, how are you enjoying the feedback that you're seeing that everybody's enjoying it?
There you go. No, I mean, I think it's awesome, right? It's nice to see them in there communicating more. I do agree we have some lows sometimes, and I think that kind of goes in like the ebb and flow of what we're doing. So it's nice to be cognizant of that, right? Kitty, to your point. So it's like I think we're trying to be more vigilant of that moving forward, because you talk to me, I stay in a box all the time. I just get lost in work. So thankfully I'm not communication manager, because we don't even want to go there. But yeah, no, it's just awesome to see. I mean, we care about it. Obviously, we put our heart into this game all the time. It's nice to see somebody out there communicating to everybody and becoming more, I guess, like you could say, human. That's awesome. Like I said, I wish I could do it. Unfortunately, I don't have the time, but we definitely care that much. So
Time. What is that? What is time, bro?
I don't know. It disappears.
My dude, Mr. Gear Goat. The Gear Goat. What you got for us on communication, boss? You can either answer it the way AJ did, or you can take it from just a person,
Sure. I mean, I'm the social media null over here. Like I don't go on Twitter. I don't go to like any of that. So if that's working good and there's a lot of outreach over there, that's awesome. I'm so glad. Like I was I think when was that stream that I did? I don't know, 3 weeks ago. What is
Something
time?
like that, yeah.
Anything
What
like
is
that.
time?
All I know is that a month before I did that, I got with Andy and I'm like, hey, here's my patch notes for what's coming up. And he's like, this is 8 pages of stuff. And I'm like, uh-huh. And he's like, I don't think we can do all that on patch day and have people accept it. Like we don't want to send it out a week before. It's like, hey, good luck understanding all of this. So he's like, okay, we got to break this down. We got to do all that. And that was kind of the impetus, at least on our end, of like, hey, we need to have like one localized to just about our onboarding, one localized just about our gear, and and all to explain why the hell we're doing any of this. And I think that is actually the biggest thing, to Kitty's point of like, why did we have like these dark times, was, well, we couldn't talk about what we were doing because we didn't have like a clear idea of like, this is why we're doing it, other than the fact that we are. Like, hey, why are we doing War for Wakanda and Black Panther? Because it's awesome. That's why. We can't really
Well,
it's like there's no real intent. There's no like, oh, we're gonna like try and craft this. Like, hey, no, we're gonna bring Black Panther in. We're gonna bring in like 2 different status effects, a bunch of enemies. It'll be like a big bad guy. It'll be all red and stuff. Like the intent isn't there. But like here we do. It's like, hey, there's confusion, and we're trying to clean up that. Some of these things suck. We're trying to make those better. So that's helped out with communication because we're able to actually say something that means something.
That makes sense to me.
I'm jealous, Alex. He gets to talk about some of the stuff he works on.
Not all of it.
I just realized. I'm like, that's not fair. Moving on.
I mean,
Hypothetically,
we won't blame you if you want to talk about this stuff.
exactly. Nothing.
Yeah, sure.
stopping
I
you,
just
right,
realized.
right?
I'm like, of course, Alex, you lucky. Moving on.
Twin.
So
I'm so scared of this, dude. I really am. But can I have your honest opinion on communication lately, please?
So when Crystal Dynamics Twitter account tweeted the update about the patch notes, possibly the patch 2.3 possibly coming out next week, I quote tweeted it with the Steph Curry from Half Court meme, and over 100 people liked it. So I can definitely see and appreciate the overall community response to the communication, because there's definitely been some improvement. It's in terms of replying to tweets. I've actually seen that before. That's not really new to me, but I am noticing a uptick in activity and seemingly enthusiasm. I will say that the initial patch 2.3 delay announcement, I didn't think that tweet was as good. It was good that they went ahead and did that, because before, I mean, that didn't really happen. You know, usually the patch comes out, something breaks, a couple hours later, hey, we got a hot fix, or we'll try to do that. But here, there was like, you know what, it's not gonna come out. We found something, we got to fix it. We'll keep you up to date. Now on Reddit, Nick E had a follow-up comment in response to someone venting about 2.3 delay, which I thought, hey, that would have been really good to have in the initial tweet, because it made it sound like, it's not that big of a delay, because people were imagining, oh, this isn't going to be out until May or something like that. Like, he made it sound like, oh, it's a minor thing. Might be a few days, but we discovered it late, and we apologize for that. But it just happens sometimes. And I thought, oh, okay, that gives us more context and understanding. And I wish people that weren't, happen to be in Reddit looking through the comments section.
Yeah. Can I add that in that Reddit post that Nick did, he also mentioned that it was a bit too big of a bug, of an issue, not like to just let it slide and release the patch like that. So that's also a very important factor, I think.
a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah,
absolutely,
yes, for sure. So my one critique in that regard would be, when you're trying to craft these messages, especially if you're delivering bad news, maybe just try to craft it in a way that you kind of understand. Okay, if we put it like this, how are people generally going to respond? You know, are they going to look at it as like, oh, this is a delay. How long is that delay going? Because there, you know, just think about the common questions that people are going to ask naturally when they read that tweet. And I thought Nick E generally does a very good job of doing that when he comments. But you know, again, he comments in subreddit, and everybody's not on the Reddit for a good reason.
Right here.
He said it, honey.
So you know, it's not the most welcoming place for certain people. You know, some people in that Reddit don't like that some of us here are gangstering up the game a little too much. But
hence the do-rag.
You know, if you're on the Discord, if you're on, you know, I feel like this overall the communications could sometimes be too divided, and I just hope that going forward it's a little more unified and consistent, so that everybody isn't getting different information depending on where they happen to be at that time.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, well, you kind of led into the next question, so I guess I get to skip you because you already answered it. Thank you, good sir. But the next question would be like, how would you guys like the communication to even improve even further? And Sadat literally just answered how he would like it to improve. So we'll just go down the panel again.
Oh, basically what Sadat said. I mean, just make it more accessible for everyone, and because if they limit it to certain spots, certain places, you know, not everybody is either in the Discord is even more of a not dark place, but like it's even less known.
Small, yeah,
less known than Reddit. So I know that usually you guys are in there. Not pretty often, but yeah, like I know that some major news have come out of the Discord, and I'm like, well, you know, might be a good idea to make it a little more public.
That's Alex in there going ham, talking about that gear, man.
Yeah, that's in 2 o'clock in the morning chat, right?
Yeah, I would said that on the Reddit. I'm like, so yeah, that's.
I don't sleep.
Somebody get this man a Red Bull. Kitty, improvements. I know you come with the realness, so I'm ready for it, mama.
Well, basically what Alien said, like if there's information like Nick E posted on Reddit, maybe make a tweet with a screenshot or something like that, or a link. You know, get the people over there that they can read themselves. I mean, not everyone has to be active on Reddit, but they can still read. And something like that. And in the future, if there's less to talk about, just keep the replies up. If people have questions, there's a lot of stuff going on Twitter all the time. People are always curious about what's next, even if you can't talk about it. Just a couple more replies in that regard would be helpful, I think.
Y'all should do some banter with that coming soon thing. Just make it a joke, like seriously, like you know what I'm saying? Soon.
Yeah.
Roadmap.
I mean, we made a joke about we made that nameplate with the Inhuman Alliance lady, where it's like seriously, you're the best.
Yeah.
And we made a nameplate for that.
That's awesome.
I miss that.
A soon nameplate? I mean, that doesn't sound out of the question.
There you go.
Dude,
yeah, I'm just going to pitch it now.
Soon moving nameplate. That's a wrap for me. I'm done.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to pitch it now. We need a roadmap nameplate.
Just
next week.
Just says roadmap
coming.
It just says roadmap, and it just goes by.
Roadmap.
Yeah. What's a question most?
No. Seriously though, human interaction, you know, and I realize, you know, in a corporate world, especially when you're dealing with a Papa Mouse property, you know, there is red tape among red tape and approvals and, you know, things that have to be signed on to even, you know, mention publicly. But like I said, you guys shine the most when the folks everywhere get to kind of see what we see in the VIP Discord, right? Like when the leashes come off a little bit and the human interaction gets there, it really shows folks your human side, and that these are people that are equally as passionate about this game as you are playing it, right? And the more the folks get to see that, it really like humanizes things, right? So like even if you can't give them the answers that they want, at least they say, hey, this is a real person doing this, right? So like my suggestion would be a tweet with whoever inherits this job, you know, a 30-second video they take on their phone or their webcam saying, hey guys, instead of just this is delayed, hey guys, there was an unforeseen thing. You know, we really wanted to get this out. We don't want to give you broken content. So please be patient. Let us fix it. Something like that would really, really go a long way. So,
AJ, I'm trying to figure out how to word that question. Well, how do you feel about these suggestions, I should say? How about that?
Oh, I was going to try and answer the question, but
go ahead. Then.
The suggestions. I mean, let's go to the suggestions first. Like,
okay, cool.
What Johnny said, those are awesome. I love that. Like humanizing things. If we could ever like videotape something and like a quick little, that's awesome. I love it. Right, seeing our faces, if that makes everyone feel more connected and more grounded. I love that. We're just humans hanging out, making video games. I swear, I'm not a robot. You know what I mean?
I can't validate that. I haven't.
No,
seen
Alex is a bit more of a robot, actually.
Exactly what a robot would say. Right?
But yeah, no, I like all the feedback. I think it's awesome, and we appreciate it. That's how we get better, right? We learn together. So these gas games have a completely different tale than a standard single-player campaign game does. So it's a whole new set of things that you deal with, right? But yeah, to speak to the previous point, what we're all talking about, I would say consistency and clarity. Those are big ones to me, which we're trying to do, right? Just remain consistent. I mean, even if there is, it's hard to word. Even if there's nothing to say, maybe say something, find something. I don't know. There's a way to weave through that a little bit. So the consistency is nice. Clarity, obviously, just making sure what we're saying is clear as possible and kind of thinking about those questions a bit like Sadat was saying, right? You kind of get ahead of yourself a little bit. So those are good. And then in terms of what we could do, like, I think I personally would like to speak to more of the unspoken in a clever way. Obviously, we have to be careful and we can't say too much, but it's not always the most fun to sit there and just be super, super hidden while we're over here doing our little magic stuff. If there's any way to kind of even shed a little light on that, that would be awesome.
Hypothetically, you know.
No, not yet.
How come I knew that was going to be a thing? And then the last piece of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, boss.
Sorry, the last piece would probably be and it's a fun line, but making video games is hard, right? So like when you see the bugs or we found this thing and we're sorry, we got to take a little longer. It's like, that's the reality of it, right? Making games is hard. The testing environments can be very picky and meticulous at times. So it's like finding everything is just very, very difficult. And sometimes we find it a little too late, but much rather find it than give it to you. And then people are like, oh, I lost my save data, or I did this. Like, we have high priority bugs. We have high priority principles at the studio. Like losing your save data, that's, God forbid anything who's happened to anybody, I'm sorry, but that's not supposed to be a thing. Like that should never, ever happen. Right. So we just have these rules we have to go through when we're releasing this content. And sometimes roadblocks happen. So I love that.
I'll go for that name.
That's my long-winded answer. Sorry.
I would log that wait, like you have no idea. I love it.
God, can we take that a step further and add a do-rag skin into the game? Just a suggestion.
Joe, can we get T'Challa with a do-rag? If we can get that, man. Let me stop.
Like all the joking aside, like with nameplates, like we actually get a little bit of like leeway with like especially the animated stuff. It's like really cool and all that. But when we go to outfits, like there is a process that we do have to go through. They're like
do-rag nameplate.
You might get an Alex Kende 2 a.m.
Fire and trash name? And if we get a fire or trash name? Yo, stop.
Right,
no, next person. Let's go.
Moving on. We can derail that train. But like the suggestions thing, like from Johnny, like that's great. I'm pretty sure that Nikki went to Reddit and posted that thesis about some of these things there because he couldn't do it in an effective term or in an effective way on Twitter because it'll break up and it'll be like all jumbled. People are going to miss things. It's going to get all out of order. I don't know. I'm old. I don't use it. Maybe they fixed that. So I'm thinking that was Nick, just like, because somebody there, like I know that post. I lurk in the Reddit and I read things there because, of course, because there are some really cool like things that people talk about in Reddit, and then there are just some off the walls bonkers ideas that is just really good as a palate cleanser to go to the Reddit and like read about. And I saw that rant, like the guy like venting. He's like, "This sucks" and all this kind of stuff. It's the worst thing. And like it like fire raining down everywhere because we needed to delay a patch because we didn't want anybody to lose their save file. And Nikki came in. He's like, "Hey, look, you're frustrated. Guess what? We're frustrated. Guess what? I am angry as all hell, but all this had to happen. Like there was no way that this gonna the amount it was something right there, and we're like, oh, is it gonna show up all the time? Can QA like validate it? Can QA validate it? And all of a sudden like comes in and QA's like, oh hey, we just got a 100% repro. 100 people are gonna get this. No problem. We're like, okay, nope, fix that. And I was frustrated. And it, like I was talking about before, like I was on Friday with some of our build engineers just trying to track down how this happened. Because we can't allow this stuff to happen. As AJ was speaking to, this is a gas environment, so we have a bunch of new problems, which means that our communication, both externally and internally, have to follow this different format. So it goes from here, it goes from here, it goes from here, and everybody needs to have like the same response. And well, it got lost. The answer got lost somewhere along the way, and everybody was angry and frustrated about it, and we had to make a decision. So as for the communication going outward, I mean, hell, let's bring in Stardust for like an intern, like community manager and all that, because he takes snippets of the Discord and puts it up, makes videos all the time. That's great content right there. I'm glad he's getting it out there because I can't upload videos at that schedule. And that kind of actually leads to the other point that, man, communication takes time. Like you guys know that way better than us, which is communicating with people takes time. You have to get ready what you're going to say. You have to set up a schedule and all that kind of stuff. And our community manager is not just doing that. We would love it if we had a person only worrying about outward communication. But Andy was doing a lot of stuff for internal communication as well. There was a lot of paperwork and everything where he's talking upwards and he's talking to Marvel and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't his only job talking outwards, and it takes time. Mm-hmm. Like when I was working at Wargaming, we were trying to do like these Friday nights where we were always playing like World of Warships and World of Tanks. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I can spend an hour and go over there and play that on Friday and everything. Yeah, cool, no problem. Here, man, I'm trying to push forward and get the next thing, and we've just never been in a situation where we can get that as a ritual. Right. And we're trying to. And like that was where like all these like weeks of like planning and all that stuff went in. It's like, hey, we're going to tease this, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about this, we're going to tease this. We want to try and get a ritual, but yeah, it's just like starting to floss. It sucks. You just have to build that muscle memory up. Right. Sorry, went on a rant there. Oh.
That was good, man.
Rants are encouraged here.
Mm-hmm. Flossing's important.
That's right.
I have something doing, by the way.
No, you don't. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Toy.
So I'm glad Alex brought up one thing, because I had a suggestion during the week that I thought could have benefited communication. I was half joking. I thought it was a good meme, but I seriously suggested that Crystal Dynamics bring in High Ruler and Doomkiller HD to help with the communication. I'm so serious about this. Like imagine Crystal Dynamic dev streams hosted by Doomkiller HD every Friday. You've seen High Ruler in action. He could. I'm sure he could digest the patch notes from Alex effectively. I know for a fact that he can deal with the direct interactions with the community because he's a content creator. He does it all the time, and he's very good at it because he's Canadian. So he knows not to go off. So people in my chat suggested that I do it, and I told them straight up, hell no, I'm going to go. I'm not built like that. I see, and that's why I empathize. I have my criticisms about the communication, but I read the comments too. I look through the Crystal Dynamics Twitter posts. I see the absolutely stupid people that come every single week, the just overwhelming amount of entitlement that just oozes out of some people. So I get it. I know me personally, I would not be able to handle that in a professional way every single day. But I know someone like High Ruler would be able to do that. And I just think that, even if it's a smaller position, and I think just having other people just kind of bolster the community management whole team would, I think, benefit the game overall, especially if it's people that we actually know.
Even just like a community outreach program.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So where it's, just reaching out, because, Doom's organized a lot of really good things, right? These competitions and things like that we have. So, I fully sign on this, man. I think between High Ruler and Doom, they would be able to do this officially, and they could both ban tricks. So instantly. so I think it works.
Bro, Trix is gonna get you. Dude.
Damn.
Love you, Trex. Love you.
Oh my god.
You can't ban Trix because he's probably one of our best bug fighters.
Bug fighter.
He's really helpful.
Absolutely.
He will absolutely find where the numbers break. It's really great. I've watched some of his videos. I'm taking notes.
Really
I'm like, oh yeah, that's really not good.
Confirm. Tricks Ridiculous is ruining the game. He got all your favorite stuff, but man.
Stardust, make a video now. Now. Go.
That's one of my. Those are some of my favorite responses on Reddit.
Bro.
When somebody finds something that is very much like, oh, this is not supposed to happen, and then for clout reasons, I guess, goes to Reddit for everybody to read it, and the immediate responses are, dude, take this down now. Why are you doing this? Dude, we all know, take it down.
It's gonna get nerfed.
Dude, bro, I'm so tired of seeing it's gonna get nerfed for real.
We just want our chest piece back.
Don't worry, you're talking to the person who's going to nerf it now, so you can just
There you go.
yell directly at him.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I'm just
Man.
kidding. He makes sure not to do things like that. He's good. He's a good one.
All I gotta say is behind this armor. Bring it back. But anyway, next subject.
Times 6 damage. It was stupid.
That was fun.
He just slid that in.
It wasn't plus 65%. It was just like this number times 6. It was dumb.
And it was beautiful.
It was a beautiful thing. Beautiful. You got 4 Black Panthers taking out the OLT in like 12 seconds.
I know. I was getting videos from all of my friends of like, look how I can one-shot Maestro with a spear.
That's fun though. I'm
Just
sorry.
videos
It's
everywhere.
fun.
It's great. I'm glad you guys had 3 weeks of just wrecking the game, but it had to get fixed.
They want you to have
Oh,
fun. They
God,
want
it
you to
was
have fun.
I mean,
y'all know y'all need to get a mode that's just broken, just a broken mode that everybody going
busted
into
mode.
gods or something, yo. Like,
I mean,
anyways, man.
I'm just saying you could have lowered it down to 65. I'm just.
Oh God! All right, new patch coming in. Hopefully, from what I've read, it should be here this Thursday coming. Which that's hopefully, we praying that it Birdman praying that it comes. This is a question for the whole panel, even you guys, you dev guys. Do you think this patch will bring replayability and better farming for the game? And we'll start with you, Queen.
Better replayability. And what was the second one?
And farming, gear
Farming,
farming.
yes. Farming, yes. No, absolutely. The fact that exotics are going to be a lot easier to get is fantastic. And more missions is also a very good thing. Wasteland, it's waiting for me. It's calling me. I'm happy. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. Expressions.
So yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm very I'm looking forward to discovering the new perks. So, yeah, definitely.
Kitty, what you got?
Absolutely. I was so disappointed when it got delayed because I had a Marvel's Avengers stream planned for that Thursday.
Me too,
And I was looking forward to just grind out villain sectors for hours. That's always what I wanted to do. I love the villain sectors so much in this game, and I hate that I can only do them like twice a day, and that's it.
J Rocker.
I'll give you the absolute most honest answer I can give, and hopefully you guys will appreciate this. As you guys know, I've kind of mosey on, to other things while I'm waiting on, Avengers stuff. And Alex's talk about gears and the more things got out, I literally had a moment where I'm in the middle of a stream playing another game that I really should have been paying attention to because I was getting wrecked. And I'm thinking, man, like if I could really load up on intrinsic, like my Iron Man, like double boost, like
he went to the lab.
So
he went to the lab midstream.
Right. So like the fact that you've got those gears turning in my head again, like that's amazing. Credit where credit is due. So
AJ, you get to answer any which way you want to. So from a player or from a dev's point of view.
I mean, just generally, more chances to get gear. I love that. New perks, Alex over there, and them going crazy, which I love. And then a big part of it's being onboarding too, right? Like we said, clarity earlier about communication. Now it's clarity in the actual game and the path and what you want to do and all that kind of stuff, right? Like there's no worse feeling than getting in there and being like, where do I go? Or like, I want this thing, but how do I get that thing? Like, what am I doing, right? So with that onboarding and that clarity, also the resources being cleaned up in the previous stuff, hopefully all that just creates a much more concise path for people to then carve how they want to. And yeah, like all the stuff that Alex and that team does is crazy, man. Like that's the stuff that keeps the game, like it keeps you in the lab, man. That's what gets me excited. So sometimes I talk to Alex and he'll tell me what's happening. Sometimes Alex will tell me what's happening. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, no, we're just gonna keep going. Because I don't care.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so that gets me super excited because I'm over here just cranking on heroes and doing all that magical stuff. But yeah, that's the other facet to everything. So,
he just gave something away, y'all. He said heroes in plural.
Magic. I heard magic. I heard the magic word.
I heard Doctor Strange.
Wanda what? Wanda, huh? Oh, okay.
Confirmed.
Hypothetically confirmed. Anyway, Sadat, what you got for me, bro?
Oh, I'm not last anymore. Okay, cool.
No, we're gonna let him go. You just heard AJ say who he talks to, so yes, he's definitely going.
They should be last.
All right, good. Yeah, I think potentially. Like I remember, I've been playing this game since the beta, so I remember a time when there was more abilities to kind of target farm at least. Like, and I've seen it be rolled away to the point where basically I only come on like on a Thursday or something, because like I remember Tachyon Rips, they used to be a great farm. Like I would go, I would come on. I remember I was up until like 4:00 a.m. farming Tachyon Rips with just a total stranger because you could play them over and over again and you had a chance at an exotic. And then one update, they completely time gated them. So now you play the Tachyon once per day. You maybe get a legendary or an exotic, and then after that, there's no point running anymore. And same thing happened with the elite villain sectors. All those were taken away. So I definitely welcome back more opportunities to play the stuff over and over again, because that's kind of what you're supposed to have in a looter. Some places where you can go just defeat the boss over and over again. Go to the chest over and over again. It keeps people on the game and engaged. And if you combine that with actually gear worth chasing, I think that'd be good. I think a playlist system would have made this whole thing even smoother, instead of hopping into the vault and you do the vault and then you return to the Quinjet and then you go through the war table and then you find the region and then you go through the vault. You just like, okay, time to do the vault playlist. Hop in, soon as you're done that vault, boom, you're dropped into the next vault and the next vault and the next vault. Okay, time for the villain sector playlist. Pop in, same thing. I think that is a feature that would make this improvement you're making in 2.3 even better and more convenient for players.
You got me eating buku popcorn right now. Buku means a lot for those who don't know. Wow. Woo.
Hot.
All right. Mr. Atlas, go ahead and do your thing, sir. I'm ready.
The playlist idea. Yeah, you're right. It's streamlining to minimizing downtime. It's all about making sure that if you're liking an activity that you spend as little time as possible in between. I mean, hell, I learned going back to the whole airsoft thing. I learned the kids were having fun if they took breaks less often. 2-minute break time, back in the game, and they would just run themselves tired. They were sweating after a couple of hours, and they would go away smiling. And yes, we need that for our games. So having a playlist type of thing like that, yeah, that would definitely help. It's something, yeah, that's probably on the list somewhere. And it kind of comes back to the other thing of like, there are a lot of things in the game that we do have to undo in order to make it better. And sometimes it comes back to UI. I remember Wetstein, like when the huge UI change came around, like he basically threw everything else in the trash to make that better UI. And yes, and people will complain about the loadouts button and all that, but he made that UI extensible. It was able to be expanded upon, and now we can do more with that UI. But he hasn't done the same thing with the other UI because it touches more elements. It has more interconnectivity elements. So yeah, having a little like playlist on the side and all of the other missions are inside of that. Yeah, that on the surface, that's like, oh, it's just a little button and it puts you into that. It's like, but then there's all the other connective tissue on the other side. What does our war table actually do? It's like, do you select this mission, or does it actually like pull data down and then like give you all their kind of stuff? It's a mess. Great idea. And this is like a step to actually getting towards that. One, we need the war table to actually make sense. It's like, oh, drop zones are everywhere, and it doesn't matter like what power level you are, except this one. This one's like really high power level. Didn't make sense. And we're trying to like standardize that to like regions. Like this region, we want you to kind of be this power level. This region, we want you to like kind of circle the globe and go over here and all that kind of stuff. That way, should anything ever be expanded upon, there's a path to get there. It's not just slapped right in the middle or like right at the end or anything like that.
And Alex, speaking of the sorry to interrupt, but
go ahead.
Speaking of the war table, would it be possible to have like not a legend, but something that explains all the symbols and tells you what is what?
There's another good a lot of stuff like
basic.
Yeah, I mean, we have our codex files and everything that are also hidden in other UI, so that's not exactly like really exposed or anything. But yeah, like having a narrative, and I think you're right. Legend that says like these symbols mean this, these symbols mean that. Yeah, simple things to like tell the player like this is what everything means. I mean, hell, like the patch notes should have gone out. They're coming out. It's not really a big thing, but like flashbacks are getting their own unique icons, so you can actually find them because they're actually going to be worth actually going after more because you have a chance to get the exotic variant from them. So you're going to want to find them fast. And this is something that I brought up with our UI guy. Like, hey, all of our flashback icons use the icons of their normal mission, which is everything else. You can't find them. So you have to like cycle through and you're like, is this it? Is this it? And you hover over all of it. It's dumb. Back out. So now they have their own unique icon. At least it can stand out like the priority mission does. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff. You're absolutely right. That the visual language we have needs to be updated. And it's an incremental process because we need to make sure that this is where we want it to be. Then we get that this is where we want it to be, and on that same note, that's what's also happening in 2.3, which is narrative just basically did pass on all gear because we had just weird vernacular everywhere. And we needed to basically come to a new baseline in order to do that. And that's what 2.3, and a lot of people are online are talking about like, 2.3. And I know we haven't really gotten to the question of replayability and gear. I'll get back to that. I really but it's like, this is just an onboarding patch, or like this is just for new players. It really is not. It really isn't. We needed a new baseline for everything. For me, this is the new baseline for hero gear. Not saying I'm done with hero gear because there are some perks that are just really bad, but this is a new baseline of what hero gear should be for all heroes. Then I can go back and like tuning, like, the one where it's like, you get 5% intrinsic energy, like doing certain pounce attacks or whatever. No, that's bad. And I'll probably go tune that, but it at least hits the bar of what hero gear should be. Now we have a bar of where we want our regions and our pathing for new player journey to be. Now we have a bar on what we want our ritual paths to be and everything like that. And now we can tune it. And now we can update it. And now we can expand it. And now we can make it easier. Now we can add all of these other things on top of it because now it makes sense.
Yay.
Because beforehand, if we had a legend on the table, I mean, like, I think at launch we had priority villain sectors, we had priority threat sectors, we had priority drop zones, and all that for like a couple of weeks. What does that mean? Like, and then we like chucked that out, and we like made it, oh, priority missions are just going to be threat sectors, but like scaled up and with a bunch of different extra modifiers, and now we're going to do this and all that. So now, like, it was just intentionality. Now we have something, and now we can identify the things that, like you just pointed out. Same with Sadat pointed out. Hey, now that everything is at a baseline, this would be really good for just user, like, just plain old, like, user friendliness of the game. Hey, I can't disagree with you. You're right. Both of your points are right. So, but back onto the replayability. Do I think it is? I mean, hell yeah. I mean, I'm supposed to. That was like kind of the whole thing that I was really pushing for with this, which is I need the replayability of villain sectors and vaults to actually, you know, be a thing. I need players to want to complete a vault. I need players to want to. There was no problem. People wanted to complete villain sectors, but because of the boss, not necessarily because of the rewards. But I wanted to make the exotic variant of that set, which wasn't done. I wanted to get that out. I wanted to get that done, and I wanted to. And I'm right there with Kitty. That villain sectors are awesome. I love playing against Warship. I love playing against Warbot. It's just fun. It's just large and expansive, and it only came up periodically, or you would have to do like certain like faction missions or whatever to do that. That sucks. Mm-hmm. And now add on top of it, and I'm almost positive that the RNG system will just bork everybody, and like the current numbers of like your chances of getting the exotic. So like there's the mission, there's the war zone has a certain chance, and then the mission chain has a better chance to get it. And I'm pretty sure one of those is right. And I'm pretty sure other people are like, I'm going to do the villain sector like 14 times. I only got 2 exotics. I might have to tune that later. But the fact is, yeah, we have a chance there. And there's actually a reason to do villain sectors. There's a reason to do vaults. There's a very specific type of reward at the end, which helps build ritual. It helps build that type of engagement. It helps fill that gameplay loop of like, I know at a consistent rate that if I go here and do this thing, I'm going to get this thing. I'm going to be able to build this out. And then we were missing that. For most of our game, we were missing that. So yeah, I mean, if I didn't believe that this would help replayability, like we got other problems.
Okay, that's fair as hell.
Well said. Well said.
Now, if we could get some more villain sectors, that would be even better.
Heard that.
Yeah, I know. Like you and me both. I'm the one yelling at it too. It's like, why can't we use this? Why can't we use this? For many reasons, we can't in our time frame. So it's just a matter of like, it's not to say that we aren't working on nothing, but like, oh, do you want it now? It's like, sure. Well, I can't give you anything now. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we just want to know what's there's more stuff in the pipeline. That's all we want to know.
Yeah, I mean,
feedback heard loud and clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Besides Ultron, of course. Hypothetically.
Rytron.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have said Ultron.
It was Ultron all along. I did a song about it, man. I did a song about it. You damn right we talking Ultron. Anyway, new players to the game. This is really exciting for me because I went through that with DCUO Online, DC Game Online or whatever, where they revamped everything. Game went offline for, a day or two, revamped everything, and the new player UI was just awesome. They literally taught you how to do everything you needed to do in the beginning of the game so you can go out into their world and explore. We've got Nick Fury coming back, people. The man with the patch. My counterpart, my in-game counterpart, people, he coming back. And he's going to be talking to y'all in the war table. So I guess my question would be, will the war table make it easier for new players to progress? And this is just opinions to you guys who haven't seen it yet. And we'll save AJ and Alex for last. You get to move up in the line a little bit. Twin, look at you. Look, moving on up. So, Alien, do you think it'll make it easier for new players?
I think so, yes. Because the way it's been so far is just so confusing for most people. I mean, I don't know how many times I've gone into a Twitch stream watching someone play the game for the first time, and they had no idea where to go and find such mission, and they were completely lost. And I was like, oh, damn. And I still remember being there too, and I was like, my heart was bleeding for them. So yeah, I think it will definitely make things a lot easier. And the fact that they're going to lower the power level requirement for the OLT and the raids, I think, is also a great thing because it's going to allow more people to to get where they want to be. And but the worst part is I know that some people are going to go, oh, it's too easy now. Well, too bad. That's all I say.
The queen has spoken. Y'all heard her. Y'all heard her.
You know it's coming.
Right.
Kitty, what do you think?
From what I've heard, yes, it will definitely make things easier for new players. I too have witnessed what Alien mentioned. When you go into other people's streams and watch them play for the first time, they all seem kind of lost at some point. Be it in the campaign, even in the tutorial mission of the campaign, which I think is really good. But I always see people like in the final fight against Taskmaster, they don't read the tutorial text. It's maybe it's too much, I don't know, but they always end up doing the wrong things and having a really hard time with Taskmaster in that situation. But yeah, I think for the war table, it's definitely the right decision and the right way to go.
Okay, J Rocker, what you got for me?
I think anything that drives folks like how you're talking about like this section from this level to this level, and here, there's an amazing game world, right? And there's a lot to experience in it, and that's part of the fun. And like, even as a content creator, I'm guilty of creating a character, and as soon as I can do Here Come the Pain, I do it 5,373 times. Until I'm, level 50, 150, and I think that's awesome. And I think that goes to a greater issue of I know they've heard me, in the Discord where I talk about flipping the fun switch, right? Like, that's kind of my whole thing is, to piggyback off, I mean, that's me and Alex have gone back and forth about, power being locked behind the raid in the OLT. And one of my arguments about it is for the folks that once they get to that end game, now there's only two things to do that are relevant anymore, right? And you have the rest of this game that's so amazing, and Stark Realities is so good, and the Hulk's missions are so good, and it's just like, I would love to see new players experience all that when they come in, and then also, to piggyback on the backside, as an in-game player, to have more reasons to come back and experience those zones and do those things, because it's, Avengers as a whole is an amazing story, and I think you get people complaining about, a hallway or a thing like that. But when you look at how they play, they literally only play 2 missions, and it's like, well, man, there's really all that you could go do the Warbot fight, and it's really cool, so anything that I think gets people to experience more of the game and see everything that's there, I'm all for it. So I think new players are going to have a blast.
You act like you knew that question was coming or something, Johnny, dog. You was ready, bro. Twin, what you got?
At a baseline, definitely, particularly when it comes to the Avengers Initiative, because I know a lot of new players who don't start with the Reassemble campaign. They just go right into Initiative, and then they go to Initiative, and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And even after, there are players that months later that still don't have a full understanding of the initiative. They've just been going through the campaign. So if this on paper, it looks like it's going to at least help that transition to their process. Now, how does it help them, progress their power? I'll have to actually see that in practice. When they get to those regions, how are they going to be able to increase their power? Is it going to be easy, or are we going to have to make a video telling them to just go to the snowy tundra and do an open chest over and over again? that sort of thing. How effective is that guidance going to be in terms of helping them progress? Are we talking about, oh yeah, go to this region, and if you play these missions, you're gonna get these rewards, and is there going to be an explanation saying, oh yeah, by the way, if you want to increase your power level, this is how you want to do it. You want to equip, there's guidance that people don't understand, in terms of the battery effect. People don't always read the tutorials in between on a loading screen. I mean, if you don't have a loading screen, like me. You don't see a lot of that stuff anyway. So it remains to be seen, just how effective. But I think just giving players guidance and kind of overhauling the way it was before, I think is going to make a big difference. And combine that with the villain sectors and the vault changes, I think that'll definitely help the new player experience. I think a lot more than it was before, at least.
Yes, indeed. I agree. AJ, you want to rock with that?
I just care about Nick Fury.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
No, I mean, like he's the person I would expect to see there. You know what I mean? So that
Right.
like just fills a giant place in my heart now. So I'm very happy about that. And then the entire intent of it is to help onboarding and help that golden path, so to speak, to a certain point. So yeah, it better do that, and I think it will. So yeah, I don't have too much to say on that one, but
Nice. Alex. Would you like
I mean,
to?
this is like a really kind of hard thing that a lot of games have failed or attempted at in many different ways. Like go back to World of Warcraft, and their power level path through regions is like scripted so finely, so fine. It's like I go from here, I go here, and then I go up here. I remember, like, burned into my neurons is the amount of time I spent in the Blasted Lands, going from 40 to 45, and then I just continued to stay in the Blasted Lands because Oldemon was like my favorite dungeon. And it was clear. It's like when I got here and all the enemies are great and I did all the quests, like that thing is now over there. Now the enemies don't kill me immediately. And it was good. Like I'm a solo player and I can wander around everywhere. And how many games have tried to do something that well crafted? Or how many games have tried to like leave it up to the player to like kind of coming out? Open world games basically just throwing it out the window and you can like, yeah, go ever do whatever you want. And then I remember the Division having a little bit of a similar issue that we had, that when you got in there and you went through the initial tutorial the tutorial set of missions, that you would have missions to go like unlock this area, unlock this area, unlock this area, and to upgrade the stuff at your base. But ultimately, it was very free form. But in that regard, a lot of people really liked it because wandering around the environment in Division was just part of the awesomeness of that. The environment was just spectacular. In that case, you could just go wandering around and go inside of a building or go inside the sewer or whatever. Not really in the first one, but yeah. So in our game, we're having to do with what we have, and we want players to not choice paralysis is a big problem. Hey, you just beat Virtually Unstoppable. You just did the harm room with Iron Man, and you went to the war table and all of that, and now what? Right. You have like 8 regions on the war table, and some of the missions can be selected by just Hulk, or some of these missions can be do here. Why is that mission power level 75 requirement? All that kind of jazz, and they're all over the place. They're spread out over the place. Space Shot was a drop. Is Space Shot a drop zone? In like Eastern Seaboard, and it was like, and it has like a power level minimum of like 50 or something like that, where everything around of it is like power level 1. It's just like, yeah, it's confusing for a new player coming in. So we needed to standardize something to say that, hey, on the war table, you're going to see Eastern Seaboard, and it's going to say recommended power level 1 to 25, and to like kind of, and players won't even be able to select missions too high power level above them anyway. So while yes, it's like kind of taking away a little bit of that form, it's like the choice paralysis was bad for our new players. Like we have evidence to say that when we put too much evidence in front of players, the players that love it and stick are a certain type of player. Right. But we need more, and we need more players that like play together, and we need more players that play solo, and we need more players, that which means we need to kind of funnel them into one point and kind of direct them on this path. And Nick Fury acts as like this long mission chain, kind of directing you through all this stuff, like, hey, go here, do these things. Hey, go here, do these things. Kind of like what Scientist Supreme was trying to do, or not Scientist Supreme, Reigning Supreme.
Reigning Supreme.
Yeah, that's it. It's kind of like what that was trying to do, but actually succeeding in that nature. Because like Reigning Supreme was like, hey, do Vault onboarding, which was its own chain of nonsense. Do Hive onboarding, which was its own chain of nonsense. And it didn't. It's like, hey, just do all of the missions, and then you finish Reigning Supreme with Last Avenger Standing.
Right.
That's not really a path. That's just an end game chain.
It's a list.
Yeah, it's a list. It's a checkbox. It's a list of things to go do for 3 hours. So this at least is trying to direct you on a path. As for the rewards in that zone, like we took a little bit of time to kind of tune what rewards you would get, and of course they're like very sticking points, and I have numbers to tell you that the sticking points is power level 20, power level 55, and power level 70 something, getting close to 80, which are like points that are just like it takes a little bit more effort that kind of stops. It acts as like kind of a shelf, and so we had to do a little bit of tuning to make sure the players got over that in that front time frame. Power level 20, critical. They need to be able to get to 25 quickly in that time frame of the missions that are there. We don't want players to spend 5 hours in Eastern Seaboard getting to power level 25. That's just a no-go. But we also don't want them to spend 10 minutes. If they get to power level 25 in one mission, it's kind of going the opposite end. That we are now setting an expectation of you are just going to be doing so much gear management that it's just going to be silly. Like you're just, equip all the +1s and +2s all the time because you're going to get it like candy. So we had to take a little bit of time to do that. And that's what its point was, to like kind of direct players over there. And then that's also the impetus on adding the missions, like adding the threat sector to Snowy Tundra, adding the other stuff to Wasteland, is because we need players to have more than just one thing there in order to actually get that experience.
I agree. Well done, man.
Okay.
I can only hope. Like a lot of this plan isn't just me. I'm just working on the other end of like all the rewards and all that. There were people putting in a lot of work to get this done.
Sounds good, man, and I'm for one I'm excited about it. And again, Nick Fury, dude, like Nick Fury, come on, man, like seriously.
Looking forward to finding out how we got back.
Right.
A life model duplicate.
There you go.
Okay, I have a question for you specifically, Alex. What can Melee players expect in this new patch? That you can talk about.
Sure. In this patch that I can talk about, not entirely a lot.
Okay.
So there's obviously the new perks that are going to be on the classic set from the exotic set and all of that. And obviously Miss Marvel, first of all, if you're playing Melee Miss Marvel, you're going to have a great time with the signature attacks, because she has 4 signature attacks that are just fantastic. They hit tons of enemies. They're really good at applying status effect. You can do it while embiggened, while polymorphed, and all that kind of stuff. So she's just getting, in general, just like one of the best status effect perks. So putting her aside, being very specific and everything, Melee characters, Melee people going after Melee are going to find some perks that definitely do something for their kit. Not necessarily it's going to be universal. Kind of coming back to this point of we had to make a benchmark. I had to get all this done, and now what I'm working on is almost entirely Melee focused.
Awesome.
Because I don't want. I had to make sure everything here was at a good baseline, so I can work on the next thing.
Right.
Okay.
That's great.
I'm looking forward to it. Then.
Is the next thing going to be potentially further tweaking of the damage buff?
No, I'm working on the next set.
It's War Machine. I'm telling you, it's War Machine. Right? Right?
Yeah,
Right? No.
I'm working on the next thing almost entirely Melee focused. You know, the hero with all the
War
guns.
Machine. Don't care. Punch him a bullet. Let's go.
Winter
I didn't
Soldier.
know Jane Foster was a Melee character. I thought Jane Foster threw the hammer like Thor. I don't know, bro. I don't know. AJ, got a question for you, good sir.
Mm-hmm.
Any particular takedowns you expecting us to just go crazy with in this upcoming patch? If you could answer that.
Any takedowns?
Mm-hmm. You're the animator, sir. Mm-hmm. Let me get this popcorn.
Look at Anthony looking for that Feige sniper beam coming through the window.
It's coming from this window. This window right over here.
Alex is like, I'm keeping my job, bro. I don't know about you.
I'm also just checking our. I'm actually just checking our marketplace schedule. I'm like, because I don't remember doing anything with the takedowns. I was like, did we? Did we? Maybe.
I don't really like to speak to the finisher. because I like those to remain secrets and just people to have a nice surprise. So I'm going to be that evil person here and just be like, yeah, I don't have much for you right now. But
can I jump in there one
we
second?
love working on finishers. They're a blast. What's up,
Yeah, if I can jump in just one second, because I want to give AJ props, man. Like when you guys did the wrestling thing, like where it was a theme for everybody, more of that. Right?
Like,
just a cool idea.
Oh, you're just saying that because you're a WWE star
Boo.
right now.
I mean, no.
Why are you booing? He's right. We need more of those.
those families of finishers that you're speaking to, those are absolutely kick ass. So, and actually, they're easier almost to build in a sense too, because you're kind of in like a little creative box at that point. So, I love that idea, John.
Just do me one favor. Just one favor. If y'all can animate this, bro. Can we give Thor a Kamehameha with some lightning, though?
Oh, I got
what?
Let me write it down on the sticky note, dude.
Yeah, it's going to the pad. Confirmed.
Sticky note is where all the good ideas happen. So
I just want to say that Thor's latest takedowns are wow.
Kate Bishop's latest takedowns, though. Oh my God,
so amazing,
bro! What have you've been on something, AJ? Because them damn Kate takedowns, bro. Okay, all right.
That's a team effort right there, man. All those finishers. That's a culmination of a lot of good minds coming together. I'll tell you that right now.
Yes.
So you get enough people in a room, I'll just throw in ideas around. You walk out with like nuggets of gold. It's awesome.
I mean, while we're making animation requests.
This is what it's gonna turn into.
I'm just saying, can we get one? Can we get maybe Iron Man and Tony clothes and maybe Spider-Man.
The actual meme.
Wait, I thought we had a Spider-Man.
It's locked.
It's
been locked.
It.
And it's not the good.
It's not the right one. No,
okay.
It's
close.
locked.
Oh no, that sucks. There's it's like we don't have any meme quality emotes for Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's a problem with me. Take that to whoever you got to take it to.
The dude right next to you is who you need to take it to, right? All right, real quick, guys. We're just gonna run a quick promo, and then we'll have questions from the panel to the devs, and y'all gonna do some one-on-ones. So yeah, it's about to go down, people. Talk to somebody. I don't know here.
Over everything, so DSG he rocking it. World domination, baby, ain't nobody topping that.
Hey guys, Queen here, and welcome to the DSG Super Weekends. Every weekend, come rock with the best. Fridays is the DSG Block Party, where you play with your favorite DSG members as you take on the toughest endgame content Marvel Avengers has to offer. Saturday, join Sadat the Gamer as he gives you what's what in Super News. And later that day, join Doomkiller HD and Slipshock as they give you the weekly wrap-up. Sunday, join us for Excelsior, now a podcast where you don't ever want to miss Fire or Trash hosted by Doom and Bloody. An action-packed weekend every weekend, so squad up and come along for the ride. This is your Doom Squad Gaming Brand Ambassador, Gamer Nerd Queen, and you know the motto, let the good times roll.
You think it's a game if you want to, but homie, we ain't playing. Told you once you, I didn't want you. DSG is the game.
Hey, Queen Alien, how you doing, man? You good? Alien, you there? Yeah.
Yes.
Your time to shine. Well, my dear, you know how we like to throw people to the wolves at the end of my shows? Well, I'm throwing you to the wolves with two devs. Have fun.
What?
No.
Oh my God! I can't believe you did that. Wow. Okay. So 3 questions. Okay. I actually have my 3 questions is for Alex. More than AJ.
Oh, I love that. Let's go.
Yeah, AJ can answer these totally.
Maybe, yeah. No, actually, my first question is about is it possible in the near future that we could get statuses on certain heroics. Like, for example, Thor and Hawkeye get them natively, basically. But recently, like, I've been playing in a lot of Iron Man recently, and I would love to be able to apply, let's say, Sonic or Vibranium on his Unibeam, or even with the Hulkbuster, but we can't really do that.
Okay, so this one I can actually is that I've been working with Pet because the first reason why we didn't do this, like in the very beginning, is that there was like technical limitations, like being able to identify just these specific attacks. Like, how do we apply a status effect to these on all these kind of things? And it has to be curated per hero.
Mhm.
Like throwing on a status effect on the Unibeam is possible. Like coloration, and of course we have like a certain standard that we want to meet to of like colorating like certain weapons and all that kind of stuff, whether or not we would actually still like push forward with all that kind of thing. But on the flip side, there's like also the element of balance of like the Unibeam isn't like super strong, so it applying like cryo or vibranium, like that seems like entirely reasonable. And then we get to something like Cap Steamroller, which just kind of sucks right now anyway. So it doesn't matter if you add vibranium to it; it doesn't really do anything.
No.
So that kind of needs to be kind of more on top of that anyway. But like onto your point of like, is there something we're looking into the future of that? And I'm working right now with Pet because Pet was like tooling around with a lot of other stuff, and a lot of this stuff came up of like certain heroics, like how to modify certain heroics to do some things, how to modify certain heroics to do other things. Status effects came up, and whether or not we're going to push forward with it is just a matter of is this going to be fair? Like straight up, we can't do anything with Hawkeyes and Thors, like you said, because they have it intrinsically. We're not going to apply.
How did you manage to do it with Hawkeye and Thor, but not with the other heroes?
Well, we did it with Hawkeye and Thor because that is the attack.
Okay.
Like we're like you pick a skill and it does that attack and all that.
Yeah.
But now the skills and gear have this like element where they're in separate buckets and they modify the hero in different ways.
Okay.
Skills are all intrinsic to the hero. We built the hero object with those skills. The attack is in there, and you're just basically flipping a switch to turn it on. Gear is out here in nether space of game code, and everything has to get shoved into the hero and work. And that's why gear breaks all the time, because like sometimes it just doesn't get shoved in properly. Sometimes the hero is looking for something else. Change a name on a perk under the hood and everything goes borked. That's what happened to the Hulkbuster Breaker last patch. Like something got miscrossed and it's like up, and Hulkbuster is all of a sudden not reading it anymore. So it becomes a little bit more complicated. That's why the technical element was the first thing getting in the way, is like, how can we effectively do this all the time? Like you put on this gear and it gets shoved to this thing, and no matter what your skill, like, do we also apply it to all skills? Like with Iron Man's Unibeam, it's just 3 separate Unibeams. Yeah, no problem, or whatever. So how can we apply that, and how can we make it fun, and how can we make it a worthwhile perk to actually choose? That kind of aspect. So like with Drone's Cunning and Panther's Cunning, those were relatively easy because they were basically put on this gear and then you get bonus on top of your heroic. So it wasn't really a choice. It's like, oh, I'm going to play normally, and then I put this on, and now my melee or my range gear does something else. Cool. Also really has like a shelf life to it. Like that's not a really engaging choice. So when we actually go into the future, like we can't touch Spider-Man's drone because he has Drone's Cunning. So that's why I'm saying like we can't just do a universal thing of like, hey, everybody's heroic assault now has perks to do this, because we can't. So now the thing is like, can we do it? And things are like that are getting easier. Do we want to do it selectively or on a per hero basis? The answer is yes, but how do we do it? And then the question is do we make it like a modifier, or do we make it you pick? So in that realm of thought is, hey, this perk says your Iron Man freezes targets. It's just like, hey, cryo, and then there's maybe like a couple of perks in there in rotation. Or do we want something that says, hey, your Unibeam does the same damage as your melee gear? So those are questions. Like one of them has like an interesting element, but is basically like we can't ever modify it again. But like that first element, yes, RNG sucks, and it basically feeds the RNG pool, but becomes far more targeted, and that means you have 3 different status effects, which is kind of something we need to go for anyway, which is give players more innate ways to do more than 2 status effects. So possible? Yeah, sure. but there's a lot of plans. Like I said, like I got done with all of the stuff for 2.3 a little while ago, and it's just been QA basically validating that it didn't break anything. So I've been working on what's coming out next and what's coming out after that, because I'm trying to work 2 patches ahead. So all of these things of like, hey, can we ever get this? It's like, yeah, sure. I'm working on a lot of stuff that
it's on your list.
Something like that may be on the list. There's a bunch of list of things.
All right. And another thing, similar question. This one was for Suki. Is okay, actually. She wants to know if we're ever going to get cosmic status leaks. Like we have, like on the raid gear, we have like we can get a cryo leak. You can get a shock, I think. So
yeah. So the expansion of the leak system, and I mean, this question kind of comes up with payloads as well. It's like, hey, can we get a sonic payload? Hey, can we get like a cosmic leak? Possible, but again, we would have to. We wouldn't just drop it in there unless we did like an update. Like a cosmic leak would probably coincide well with like an Omega Gear update. Like, hey, we're going to just like tool up the Omega Gear. We're going to make it a little bit spicier, and then boom, throw in a cosmic leak or a cosmic double leak of some sort. Yeah, that would work. On the flip side, man, Cosmic doesn't need any help. On the flip side, but also it would look really cool with like those weird like tendrils like coming out and everything. It would look great, and maybe that's
pretty much why Suki wants it.
Yeah, maybe that's enough because it would look just super dope.
Yes.
So, are there any? And the reason why I'm a little bit more confident on possibilities of this is that we built the leak system. I built the leak system with help from VFX and Combat in a way that if we ever wanted to expand it, we can. And it's easy. It's not custom work. It's not like this thing where we have to unearth all of the hero things. It's like, okay, let's see if all this stuff breaks again and all that. No, it's now built-in modules that we can expand upon. Okay. And now it all falls on me of more of a tuning and reward element. Does the reward fit this thing? If we come out with something else in Wakanda as an activity, doesn't make sense that there's a cosmic leak on that gear. If we came out with something in the Wasteland, or we came out with like an update to Omega, to OLT,
exactly. Yeah. Have it where it matters.
Yeah, and then sure. Nice. But also like there are 3 status effects that haven't gotten any love in any of the end level gear.
Plasma, gamma.
And shock. So we have shock status leak, but shock has never been a preferred status effect on any of the gear. So there are other things that we need. The shock status leak is an outlier, but like we haven't gotten like we don't have exotics that are like, oh, I roll shock and gamma.
Not very sexy.
It could be, but it needs love. It needs love.
Yes, it does. And my last question is with regard with what we were talking about earlier with limiting certain regions to certain power levels with the next patch. I don't know if, because it's going to be great for certain regions that have like 10, 12 missions at all times that you can, do. But the Eastern Seaboard, for example, there's like, on the best day, there's like 4 or 5 maybe. So aren't you afraid that it's going to get repetitive for, people who are kind of stuck there? And also, what about disappearing missions? Is there still going to be missions that are going to just disappear from the war table altogether? Like, and we're back sometimes. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And,
So I don't know if AJ, if you want to like interject, if you have anything to like talk about. I don't want to take this entire situation or whatever.
Okay, well, if it's
go
ahead.
So the hopper is what it was when missions would rotate in and out. So the hopper would basically disseminate to the table X number of missions across all regions. We basically just gutted that.
Okay, good.
So, all of the missions are going to be on the table at all times. So Eastern Seaboard has I think 3 drop zones and has 3 threat sectors, as well as 2 villain sectors.
Yeah, exactly. So if we can get that all the time, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and they're going to be up all the time. The villain sectors have a higher power level than the other ones. So you're not going to see the villain sectors until you get to power level 25 anyway. So you're going to have 3 villain sectors or 3 threat sectors and 3 drop zones. And unless you're speed running everything, you're not going to have to play all of those more than once in order to get to power level 25 or to even get to a power level in which you can continue. And the next one is actually going to be Pacific Northwest. I had to think there for a second. So before you get shoved over to Pacific Northwest has 4 villain sectors. It has both versions of the Warbot.
There's plenty to do on the Pacific Northwest. And same with the Utah Badlands. Those are the best regions. But some regions that still don't get love are the Snowy Tundra is not too bad, but Scandinavian.
Well, the Scandinavian Highlands is not going to be part of this path. No, Scandinavian Highlands is going to have the Thor iconic mission, and then when certain events or a Tachyon mission come up, they're going to populate in there. Okay, but the Scandinavian Highlands is not a part of this path. No. In front of it's geographically not even close to the Snowy Tundra, but basically kind of just an offshoot. It's just another snowy place that's closer to the Atlantic. But yeah, it's a region off by itself that when the cosmic event ever comes around and we have the cosmic version of that mission or whatever show up, or the Tachyon version of that mission, it'll pop back up. But you kind of called out the big places, the big problem, which was Snowy Tundra. Well, Snowy Tundra needed a threat sector because it has none. Mm-hmm. And Wasteland had nothing. And Eastern Seaboard had little, very focused, at least in our favor. And We're Back, Enter the Avengers are both they have some of the highest reward density. Like And We're Back's reward density is beyond any other mission. If we're talking about, I'm not talking about chess. I'm talking about chess, HVTs, objectives, and the speed of the mission. Everything is super compact and right there. You can go boop, 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 and get everything super fast. So that shouldn't be an issue. And then the other one, Enter the Avengers, is just long. There's just tons of stuff. So I'm not really worried about being stuck in one place before you have to go to the next for too long, because I'm worried about the players that don't inherently have that knowledge of what a looter shooter is that you need to equip gear, you need to power up and all that kind of stuff. So they're just going to passively continue. They're going to complete all the missions once in the Eastern Seaboard, and then they can't continue on because they're not high power level. Yeah. But that's the rough edge that we need to kind of get players understanding. Because there are those players that exist that they just I'm going to equip a couple of pieces of gear and I'm just going to continue, whatever, and I don't care. And ultimately, we can't have that because our end game needs players that understand gear. True. So we have to get player into the habit of powering up, moving on. So,
excellent.
I'm not worried about those parts.
Well, that's it. Thank you, and glad to have you.
Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. How we doing?
Hello, Johnny.
All right. So I had some real hardball questions. I'm going to be honest with you. I had some hardball stuff, but I've really been keeping an eye on chat, and I've seen a lot of fun stuff come up. So the first question I got to ask, and first somebody mentioned Bob's Burgers in chat that AJ is a Whitechapel guy, and I think we might be best friends now. Just saying. So when you guys are hard at work, AJ doing his animations, Alex working on gear, what's in the headphones? What are you listening to? What gets you in the zone and working well?
That's a good one. It's either extremely heavy metal like yourself, Johnny. So you know me. Yeah,
I love you.
Yeah, I can't help it. I'm rocking out to breakdowns and everything all day long. So it could be Between the Buried and Me. It could be August Burns Red. It could be As Lay Dying. It could be a myriad of other things. Right?
Shouts Phil.
Exactly right. So that stuff, or it's on the complete opposite end, and it's super chill, just something super chill, or maybe even a little jazz, because I used to be a drummer, so I'm big into jazz, right? But it's one of the two. I'll bust out a little hip hop here and there, but it's a rarity.
Love it. Love to hear it. Alex?
So because I don't remember words all the time, I actually had to open up my playlist, and so the newest ones that I added to it are Stonebank the Power. I got Animal Rights doing a weird mix of Dead Mouse and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I got Scions and Sinners from the Final Fantasy 14 soundtrack. That is so good for dungeon music. I love it. I got a Prodigy, Pendulum, and Limp Bizkit remix.
Oh, we got Limp Bizkit.
Really yeah. I got Funk Will Change from Puffla Duff. And then so that's like my rockin' track. That's a little bit more upbeat. But then if I go over to like my chill EDM and synth and stuff, I got like Dana Point. I got Mice on Venus, which is actually from the Minecraft soundtrack, which is just nostalgic as hell. I got Transistors, I got The Grid, and I got like Lost, Hotel Pools, like a lot of these really weird synthwave bands that's like that kind of element to it. And then I have rock somewhere on here, and I got like the weird rock. Like I got the heavy metal too, but I got this one called SD, like SDIH. Let me make sure I can say. Let me make sure I did or said that right. I'm not pronouncing it right. What the hell?
That's all good.
But the best way to put it is Celtic metal, not
yes.
No,
that sounds awesome.
not just Celtic metal, but like he has bagpipes, but he has like pan flutes and everything, and it's like,
I love it.
it's like, and I just dig it. And then Evolution, is that actually the band? I don't know. The song I really like is I See Monsters, and he's British, and I guess the band name is Evolution. Awesome. One of those.
Yeah. All right, so question number 2. To go back in a little more gaming centric thing. So if the planets aligned and you had Mr. Bill Roseman and Mr. John Q Square Enix and FT Crystal Dynamics came to you and said, okay guys, budget, resources, and everything is not an issue. We want you to pick any major Marvel storyline that you think is going to do business for this game. And you get to work on the storyline, adaptation, and characters of said thing. What are each of your picks?
Damn, that's a good question.
You can go first, Dave.
Why you gotta make me go first? Come on,
under the bus.
Okay,
I'm about to put you under the bus.
I said it first.
I know you did. Damn it. Man, I don't know the comic runs as well as I should. So
even MCU stuff. Like I said, this is your world. Anything you want. Anything you want.
I mean, I can't help just going to Endgame and Thanos and everything, man. That's just where my brain goes. Obviously, I love the MCU. Again, I'm not like as into the comics. I've read the comics. I don't know those story runs quite as well as other people do. But yeah, I mean, I just have a tie. I have a tie to that. It was cinematic excellence, and I think bringing that to life would be just so much fun. There's some really good characters there. So
100%. Love it.
I wish I knew more about comics. There would probably be another answer, but that one suffices, and I like that world too. So
yeah, that's cool, man. I love it. But you guys,
I'm trying to find it because I can't remember the name.
Okay.
But I would absolutely, if all of this thing, and I got unlimited resources and all that kind of stuff, I'd 100% go to the Savage Land. And I'd try and tie in the symbiote wars with the Savage Land, because what's better than dinosaurs being potential enemies? Symbiote dinosaurs being potential enemies.
I mean,
awesome. What's funny, if you go way back into my streaming with Avengers and when we were just doing the beta, I mean, we had conversations that were like, man, can you imagine that like in year 3, there's going to be a Thanos raid and it's going to be 6-player crossplay, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that's so great about the game, right? Is just the future is limitless when you look at the quality of this combat and, you know, what you can do. So the next question, I got to ask you guys a hard one, right? And I like to get both of your opinions on this, is there very much seems to be 2 types of Avengers players, right? You have the folks that are the elite of the elite that want the challenge, that want to raid all day, throw us at the thing. And then you very much alluded to it earlier that you have the casual players that just want to beat up mans of superheroes and do the thing, and they just want to have fun. And I have and to be fully forthright with this, I have a personal connection with this. I won't go into it now, but I do have a special needs friend that was probably the biggest Avengers fan and player that I know, that was able to use an Xbox, you know, controller, the accessibility controller, and play at a very limited thing. And it broke his heart that he can never see the number 175 next to his name because he does not have the skill level to do an OLT or a raid, right? He's just never going to be there, right? Is there any way possible that, I understand the thought that you guys feel like if there's an easy path to power, people will do that and then they will disengage, right? But is there a path anywhere to where we can find a way to where like maybe the raid rewards change and it's something that's just super cool, but it's not power, and that the folks that don't have the capability to do that, or they're solo-oriented players, or they're intimidated by playing online socially with folks, is there a path to 175 for other folks too?
That's a really good question. That's all you can do.
I mean, you can give your opinion on what you want on that one, and I can give
absolutely.
more information on that. But I want to hear your opinion too, AJ. On that.
Well, I mean, that's an easy yes in my mind. Like, they should be able to get there, right? If they want to reach that number, we should give them a means to do that, right? So if currently that's not feasible or a thing, then we should work on a solution so that can happen. Because I would love for your friend to have that moment where he hits that number, right? And it's like the best feeling ever.
Right?
So he totally deserves that. And if we can make that happen, I'm sure we would. So
Appreciate that.
So in stream previous, Brian was basically talking about other ways that we want to bring people to 175. Power level improvement and forcing a certain power level like gap and from a certain activity that has very specific gameplay connotations. We want to funnel people to this matchmaking pool. We want to actually bring the power level up, but we want to bring the power level up in controlled rates. So, because we can't just let people that just like AFK farm or just basically do the same mission over and over again and get to something that somebody spent 12 weeks getting to.
Right.
But on the flip side, we can do that potentially with ritual. A common thing in games will be that there is the skill path and then there is the commitment path.
Mm-hmm.
The skill path gets to the top faster and the commitment path gets there, but in a longer period of time, as long as you're committed to doing it. So the raid and the OLT right now are a little bit of mixture of both, because we have that ritual where you have to come back and do it and you have to have a certain amount of skill. But saying that there can't be another path on the side that's just a commitment path that just takes longer as long as you keep playing, that's possible, and that's something that Brian alluded to before, and that's something that Brian has been doing with a lot of plans in the future. Like 2.4 is something we're already submitting work for. We're already getting work tested for that's going to have some of the groundwork of what you're laying out, but it's not something we can go into detail right now because it's still a plan that's in flux. That Brian wants to get people to 175 who don't go to the OLT and the raid. What's that number going to look like? Well, we can't just give it to them in something that they can do in a week because everybody else will be pissed off.
Right. Well,
So,
my thing is like my challenge to you, and this you specifically, Alex, is not to kiss your ass here, but I really feel what you were doing with gear, right? And myself and a lot of folks that have become a little disenfranchised in past with the way the old team was doing things, really kind of see you as the person like, man, this guy gets it. This guy is one of us that comes from these RPGs that gets it, the lure of the gear, the brain lab, and all that kind of things. And that's just where I implore to you, man, the answer to that question is in your awesome creativity, right? To where like, we're not chasing 175 in the raid. We're chasing a badass set of gear that Alex puts together with some really cool freaking perks, and maybe even AJ gets to do some custom animations on, right? That is so badass that when the beginner player sees somebody in the elevator with that gear that's doing well, what is that? How do I get that? You gotta do the raid, bro.
But that's the dream we live in now. That's right. The claw gear not only was like the start of everything. It was like the first foundational gear that I was really working at from the ground up. But the claw gear was also like the great experiment. Can we get players to actually try a hard activity almost purely on reward value? Because it's like, hey, if an activity is fun, players will play it, but they'll kind of like peter out because there's nothing really at the end of it. But like LAS basically proved, players will mind-numbingly push themselves through 14 floors of highs for the chance at something better.
Well, and cool.
Yeah,
right? Like cool is the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because like the stat folks are going to chase the stats, but cool people will chase the cool
Yeah.
things. But thank
Rule
you guys so
cool.
much.
Yeah. Later, man.
We're heading on to chaos. Thank you, Kitty.
Bye,
Appreciate
Johnny.
you.
Hi everyone. Wow,
Hi.
this is gonna be difficult now because all my questions already got asked.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah, it happens. Well, basically, let's start with a development question sort of thing, because I used to do some code work back in college and all that. What was the most frustrating bug for you to hunt down? And how long did it take?
That's a really good question, Kitty. Wow. I don't think I've ever been asked that one before. The most difficult bug to track down? Okay, well, I'm not going to go to 4-player, multiplayer networking bugs, because those are just evil sometimes in a whole different respect. So in terms of stuff, because that's just, it's hard. In terms of like development, and we can sit here and I can debug it and figure everything out. It's really usually extremely subtle stuff. It'll be like we have default stances and combat stances in our game, and we have code that's kind of dictating when that trigger is on and off. And we do things like walk stops and combat walk stops, all these little animations that you might not pick up on, but they're all there, right? Sometimes those things will break, and trying to figure them out is very difficult because the timing's always variable. And there's no way to like set the timing. So stuff like that. It's easier to figure out an A pose, assuming it's not network based. I can usually go figure out why an A pose is happening. But it's like, oh, this 1 out of 50 times this walk stop animation just doesn't play, or it does this and then it pops. Oh my God, drives me crazy. Drives me absolutely crazy. So I was looking at one recently and I just figured it out. So I had a nice little pat the back moment. I was like, oh my goodness, finally figure out how to get this to work every time until someone figures out how to break it. But I'm going to accept it for now.
And Alex?
I had to think about this a little bit, like, because honestly, like, one of the bugs for the 2.3 patch, I've just been swearing for like the past week straight, but that's not really something I can talk about. But that's definitely one of the most annoying ones, and it's honestly one of the ones that I've had to work on the longest. Was one of the bugs leading to the 2.3 delay that I've been like, this is stupid, and I've been trying to get it done. And I think I've been working with 2 of the guys from Warzone for probably 8 days on to try and fix all that. That aside, I think one of the hardest ones. Let me see, because I have dumb ones, and then I have like hard, like kind of difficult ones to kind of.
Isn't there so many different kinds of bugs?
Oh my God!
Now, let's see.
It's like,
now that the question was asked, I'm like, wait a second.
I know. It's
There's
like one of the dumbest ones is actually coming in 2.3, like fixing Spider-Man's drone cunning with discordant gear. It doesn't work. Well, why doesn't it work? Well, all of the status perks that I made are missing a flag on the bottom that says I am a vibranium status effect or I am a sonic status effect, and that's the flag the spider drone uses with drone's cunning. It just looks for the flag, and I didn't put the flag in because I was making this in parallel with this other stuff. So it's like, whatever. Now it all works, and then I just forgot the flag. It's just stupidity on my part. As for like difficult to find, I think in patch 1.7, one of Captain America's challenges broke, where you have to like hit X number of enemies with a certain power attack, except it was working up until then. And so it's like, okay, I'm going in and I'm like looking at all the logic I set up, and I'm like, why isn't this working? I have literally not changed this for months. And then what it is that some of the melee moves got standardized, so the naming structure became less hero specific, and they standardized it, so it's like, this is power group A, this is power group C, and all that kind of stuff. So all of my little checks for what melee group were being used were just out of date. Not errors, because they didn't delete them, they just changed the name that they were using. And so that was just a little bit of like, oh, and I have to go in and have to rewire that, and I had to go in and rewire a bunch of stuff. And then one of the other bugs that came along was when tacking on the Dupe Hero event. Was the first week the Dupe Hero event went out, everybody's challenges could be completed by other players. And it's like, and so like the first week it was out, and we're like, oh, this is like something I knew was coming down the pipeline, but I just forgot to like mention it to people and all of that. And it's like, oh, we need to put only the local Iron Man can progress these challenges. Only local Captain America can progress these challenges. Only local Black Widow can progress these challenges. And I'm just like, and that was just difficult because the amount of wiring I had to do for each hero to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I can imagine a little bit at least. Okay, my second question, Alex kind of already answered with the Savage Lands. It is like, what iconic Marvel location would you add to the game if you had the chance? Like, you know, all the funding and stuff.
I probably just want to go to the tower, like the Avengers tower, right? Like, don't I just want to go there? I just want to go up the tower and just fight like waves and waves of baddies. It's gonna remind me of like Streets of Rage or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I want to go back to the Avengers Tower too, but I would also love to see like Madripoor, like all these dark alleys and gangstery stuff going on there. That would be probably a really good, cool city environment.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about like the environment aspects where you can get some really cool different change of pace, right? And just makes the whole world feel a bit different. That's a good call.
Okay, the last one might be a bit easier. What is your favorite operation or expansion that has been released so far? And why, if you have a reason for that?
Favorite expansion? You go first, Alex.
it's 2.3. Well, no, okay, 2.2. It's 2.2. It was Spider-Man and Claw Raid. Best patch, best expansion we did. I got to do the most stuff. It was like I got to do the gear. The raid was awesome. We got to like throw in just a bunch of stuff. Spider-Man dropped like 2.2, hands down.
That's a good.
Okay, I can see why. Okay.
I'm gonna go with Panther. When we dropped Black Panther, I mean, it was like that was a big moment for us, I would say, on the Pet and Combat team, and just like selfishly myself too, because there was a lot of work that went into Black Panther, and it was really, really cool to watch everyone experience him and just be like, holy heck, like this is awesome. And like, I don't know the last time someone saw Black Panther in a video game like this, like a combat. I don't remember one. So it was really a lot of fun bringing that to the players.
Yeah, I still love playing Black Panther. He's one of my favorite heroes. I'm a bit sad that melee is still not up to par with ranged, but
yeah, yell it out. It's all his fault.
I know. Yeah, I know we're getting there. I know, but I want to play with Black Panther more because he looks so cool. All the animations are so great. So props to the team.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
What's shaking, people? It's your boy Doom Killer HD. Sit back and relax. You are now rocking with the best. Put your hands together and rub slow.
To the Birdman, hands the Birdman, hands.
It's about to go down, act like you know.
To the Birdman, hands the Birdman, hands.
You know the motto, let the good times roll.
To the Birdman, hands the Birdman, hands.
Put your hands together and rub slow.
To the Birdman, hands the Birdman, hands.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello there.
Get your own intro song and everything.
Every time I hear that, I just want to go like this.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It is.
I promise, guys. I'll be gentle mostly.
I'm scared.
So my first question is something that I get asked quite a bit, and I do agree with the sentiment. And it's definitely something you guys have seen before, and it is about traversal. In this game, there are a lot of people who are unsatisfied with traversal. They're usually people who aren't using Spider-Man, Thor, or Iron Man, and to an extent Kate Bishop, and even those people have some issues. So my question is, would there be a way to, because I understand that Phil has talked about this before, there are certain system limitations that prevent, some of the stuff from getting where people want in terms of traversal. Like obviously Hulk can't jump across the entire map. That's not something that can be feasibly done. So there are limitations in that regard. But my question is, are you open to, or are you opposed to exploring options for older heroes, maybe more creative ways to improve their traversal? For example, maybe making Hulk's third jump his permanent jump, or taking away the intrinsic requirements for Captain America's sprint or Thor and Iron Man's flight boosts, something like that. And if not, is traversal something you're keeping in mind for heroes that are possibly coming in the future, particularly if there are non-flyers?
So first answer, we always keep traversal in mind because of the things that you're saying. So like we know that it's an issue. We know that giving you more tools to traverse the world is important, right? So we definitely try to satisfy that moving forward.
Go on, Bob.
They're coming out of here. So yeah, we're always thinking about the traversal. In terms of like the older heroes, yeah, I'm never opposed to trying to update them or change them where it makes sense. Like when it comes to Cap and his like shield sprint that he has, that's actually you move really fast, actually, right? Like faster than most heroes. So but the intrinsic cost, that's a good question. I mean, it's supposed to be there, but
the fact that you actually block bullets while you do that,
right?
There's a balancing issue there. Like, could we have it maybe not drain
when
you're not blocking bullets?
Right. Like, I think there's definitely validity in those ideas and concepts because even after playing the game more and more, right, you just start to like exist and live in that space, and you start to realize these little nuances where yes, there's reasons for them, and I would still like to say there's reasons for them, but it definitely doesn't mean you can't do anything. I will definitely say I have actively been looking. It's killing me. I have actively been looking and thinking about this exact thing. So both for new heroes and old heroes, because I feel the same way when I'm running around with certain people. I'm like, oh man, this feels just like a little too sluggish. I wonder what this would feel like, or this would feel like. So,
especially Black Panther. Like,
right, you're running, you're like, I feel too slow. Why am I slow?
Yeah, like Captain America, the shield. I understand the shield charge has some balancing issues, but if he's sprinting without the charge, like people want to create that scene in Infinity War where Cap and Black Panther are racing across the battlefield, and if you try to do it in the game, it's a lot more underwhelming.
We're not giving them that fantasy. I mean, I hear that 100%. So
I feel like James would be easier, but I'm not going to talk about that.
I tried to get Black Panther a triple jump, but that wasn't working.
It wasn't working from a technical standpoint.
From an animation standpoint, like he like rolls and then he rolls again, and then like there was like an element where people were like, "Why can he triple jump?" And I'm like, "Why not? It doesn't matter. Nobody cares that he can double jump."
Yeah. I think the jump is fine.
There's rules here. Double fine, triple low. Wow.
It's mainly the sprinting with Black Panther that's killing me. And I know at one point I was wondering if like Hulk could, how like Kate Bishop or Kamala, certain characters, if there's a high point, you can just press X and they'll have an animation that takes them there. I was wondering if that would solve a lot of people's issues with Hulk, because sometimes it can be pretty awkward to traverse if you're trying to get these different platforms with Hulk.
A grappling hook in the shape of a jump.
Yeah, essentially. Like, Kate can teleport there and Spider-Man can web zip up there.
Yeah.
Kamala uses the arm. So if Hulk could just be like zoom and just leave.
Yeah, he's like he's a little too clunky, right? I feel.
Yeah.
No, I think he's actually probably one of the best ones to look through, and I don't think it would just be that. It would be like kind of assessing and evaluating how he handles the traversal in the game and the markup. The markup is what we use to tag certain things as being valid and all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely some. I feel like more work that we could do with him to get him a bit smoother and like do exactly what you're thinking. Like I'm looking there and I expect to be able to get there based on previous heroes. Now he won't have a grapple. That's obvious, but yeah, I definitely think there's a little massaging to do there.
I sent you the video on me using Hulk in the Wakanda campaign, right, AJ?
I don't remember. Did you?
I need to. I tested Hulk in all the Black Panther mission chains. So that tower, the vibranium gas tower, where there's all these little tiny platforms, and I was Hulk, and it's like your running distance. Every platform was exactly 1 foot away for you to miss. And I sent that to David Leduc. I'm like, David, this is stupid. He's like, how many people are going to play Hulk in the Black Panther campaign? And I'm like, at least one.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
So good feedback.
So good that you could explore that. So my second question is about it's something you've gone back and forth with Johnny Rocker about, I'm sure, in those discords those Discord chats that I'm not privy to, but I know there is a from a developer standpoint a reason for time gating. It does serve a function. You know, you don't want there's a balance that has to be struck. You want to have people kind of on the hamster wheel, so to speak. You know, you want to have them have something to chase, which gives you some time to, you know, prepare other content. But at the same time, you don't want it to be at a place where people feel like they have no reason to play the game most days. And I feel like Avengers has kind of missed out on that balance so far. We'll see how 2.3 improves that. But I do think there is room to explore that in the future. But I was thinking of maybe not necessarily, you know, do what you will with the time gating for the raid, but maybe give player. I think the main thing is players want to have something to do every day. They want to feel, especially in-game players, they want to feel like they're pushing towards something. And I feel like you kind of tapped into it with the champion system, but it wasn't properly executed. So I was thinking maybe would it be possible to have, or was something you can explore where you kind of remix the champion system and make it more of a keep the Paragon system type of idea, but give maybe players something to strive for, like say, you know, not instead of just plus 10% to heroic damage, you can have stuff like that. But you know, there will be a tier where maybe you will unlock a cool new skill or animation. Maybe AJ can animate some new stuff. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily be something crazy like, you know, Captain America wielding Mjolnir, though that would be cool. But you know, a new skill for new skill unlocks here, plus damage buff, plus damage increase for this category here. You know, something that even if you can't increase your power level, players, you know, with the gear in the raid or whatever, some people still feel like they can stay on the game and their time is amounting to something and they have something to chase.
I mean, you're hitting all of the right points with like what you're asking. Like, hey, well, it's like, can we do something where we can go back and do all that kind of stuff? Like time gating being the only source of gear was like just the bad choice we had to make at the time, because like time gating has to be something and all that kind of stuff. But time gating can now be, hey, guess what? Units actually mean something now that people are actually spending on something. Time gating can be connected to units. Time gating being connected to Polychoron now that people are actually trying out other heroes and running out of Polychoron on their major artifacts. Like, it doesn't have to be gear. It could be larger groups of gear. Like we did that with the Claw Raid. You now get an exotic every time. Same with the OLT. You get an exotic every time. The time gate is you get chunks of gear. Still not great what we got. But now we're going into 2.3 is we're going to have time gating on like the daily elites or the daily villain sectors, and the elite villain sectors are going to be weekly and all that kind of stuff. So there's going to be more of that in between time that you can do. It's like, will you be able to complete all of this stuff in one day? Yeah. If you dedicate way more time to it. Like, we're actually going to have enough stuff to do in one day that like you would have to dedicate the entire day to potentially do it. And that's just going to be for like one hero, because there's going to be all the hero bound stuff on the other end. So updating rewards actually allows some things to be meaningful, but it's still not answering your primary point of that long tail. So we also have to update rewards because the long tail can be gear experimentation.
Right.
And what you're talking about with skill choices on the Paragon system and everything is probably the coolest thing we could do with Paragon. But like AJ could speak into the more thing of like, how much work would that actually, like how much custom work could that actually be per hero? Potentially not a lot, but also it's a much better use of that system, way more interesting. And like, yeah, like we need to, the long tail right now, at least in 2.3, is going to be a much wider, more targeted, more interesting gear experimentation experience for the long-term players. But that doesn't hit everybody. We need the other part where long-term players feel like they get a little bit more heroic, who like all the numbers just kind of like go in one ear and out the other and everything, and they just want more targeted hero experiences, which is all about the skills and the attacks. And yeah, that we need to work on. we definitely do need to work on that. Whether or not we can leverage the Paragon or champion system or anything like that, AJ could probably speak to some of the development of that kind of stuff.
I mean, yeah, it all just takes time. It depends on where we want to put the time, right? If we want to upgrade old heroes and give them new stuff, which I love, if we want to do new heroes, and it's not a fun answer, but it's all just prioritizing, right? And like, we don't want to be like, oh, hey, some people go over here and some people go over here and some people go over here. Things get a little crazy when they're too scattered. So sometimes it is nice to be like this thing.
I definitely think it would be popular if implemented well, and I think it's definitely something you should, because I know there are priorities, but there are people that are like, oh well, I just want a new hero, or I just want a new map. But I think if people knew that they could potentially unlock Mjolnir Captain America, they'd be like, hell yeah, let's do it. Right. We're all about that. So I think that's something. But my last question is about combat. Now, widely, I think the consensus, some people, love the story, but I think the most consistent thing I've heard from Marvel's Avengers is that they love the combat. Every hero feels like a hero. They say they knock that out of the park. Say what you will about Avengers, combat's awesome. I feel like Thor. I feel like Hawk. I feel like Iron Man, and that's great.
Now give me 7 more heroes.
Yeah, no, not at all. That's not where I'm going with that. but yes. So my issue is I feel like this game gets in the way of that awesome combat too often. So as an example, a part of the problem that people have with Melee isn't just that ranged characters have better perks on their gear. That's part of that. It's much easier, targeted buff plus Tachyon Surge, on a hammer throw. That's better than pretty much anything you could do as a melee character for the most part. But I think the bigger issue is that there's enemy design where if you're in melee range, it doesn't make sense to use melee because you have over shields, and even when you don't have over shields, some enemies have passive shields where they're blocking even when they're not actually blocking. You have some enemies that can dodge like it's the Matrix, and it doesn't incentivize you to actually string together combos or anything like that, because sometimes literally you can't. You try to do your combo finisher and there will be instances where like you're Black Widow and you have a Symbiotic coming at you swinging, and you start your combo chain and you're punching them in the face and they're still coming for you like this. So it's just like, well, that kind of hurts the whole combat experience in a way. And another one, I think a bigger issue that hurts the combat is the actual mission objectives and the mission types. You'll have a lot of missions, and it's become a meme at this point where, oh, we're stand on a small platform and just and don't move. We got someone has to hack, so everyone has to start realities. This is awesome, cool. You have this open environment. Oh, by the way, stand in a small circle. You can't move. You have to, or you're going to fail it. And even when the Tachyon things came out, like, oh cool, you're constantly draining health. Oh, now I have to stop fighting, so I have to run down and chase down these orbs and then come back. I feel like they're with the mission objectives themselves, and like Destiny has a version of standing in a circle, but it's in this open map. You don't have to stand there, and you're more so defending the position. Other games have that where you're more so defending a position from enemies that are encroaching on it, rather than having to be restricted and stand in this one space and do. So I feel like can you going forward have, obviously your Alex is working on melee, but so more so can you look at mission types, obviously horde mode, #horde mode is always a thing people are throwing around, but can you look at mission types and mission objectives going forward and try to make it more combat oriented? There are a lot of people that were disappointed in the raid where there was not really multiple raid bosses. It was like, okay, we got the spider, then you're standing in the circle, and then you're standing on the little circles to figure out the doors, and then you're flying across, and you're
big and little circles.
yeah. You gotta hit the platform. You have to hit the platforms at the same time, and then you're flying back and getting the antimetal so you can stand in this spot and hit the thing at the top. It's like, can we have more objectives and mission types that lean more into the game's, I think, biggest strength, which is that combat feeling like a hero.
That was a lot, Sadat. That was a lot, bro. So let's go through a few of those. And Kende, you hop in here too. Overshield that the enemies use, they use it a lot. Yeah, it can be very evil and frustrating sometimes. Not the best for combos. I don't have much to say to that other than that is something that we created a long time ago and was part of like the overall just this is how we make enemies harder in a sense. I know that it's some people on the team like it, some people don't. So yeah, I really don't know what to say to that one. We hate it. I know you do. In terms of standing on circles and standing on buttons, yeah, we make fun of that too at this point, and we would like to do different things than those two modes, or those two things that you do inside. I mean, I laugh at that too, right? So we're definitely challenging ourselves at this point now to do, I think, more interesting objectives and things that aren't always on buttons. Every time I see one now, I just laugh. So they don't like me in those meetings now. I'm like, are we standing on a button? Okay, this is great. But you also said something previously, which I think was a good point. And you kind of just glossed over it in your previous thing. You said, like, you just want to have fun and keep playing the game, right? And like, that's like the biggest thing to me. It's like you hit like the biggest nugget of all, which is like, if we're doing anything that doesn't allow you to have fun or is like taking that away from you, that's a problem. Like, you should always be able to have fun. And I know that is something that we're trying to fix, and Kende and everybody is trying to make it so that is always happening. Just know that's at the forefront of our minds too. We feel those same hiccups and those same, like, that lag. You're just like, oh, why is this happening? Or why can't I do this? I want to go grind this. I can. It's all speaking to what Alex was kind of saying, is that foundation. So many things were built when we created this game as a single player and a multiplayer game, which, let me tell you, that's a can of worms and very interesting a concept to try and fulfill. Very, very difficult. So I feel like what you see is like the growing pains of us kind of coming out of that finally, right? And it takes longer than I'd like it to, but it's a reality. That was a tangent. I lost track of the question, but there you go.
Well, you kind of hit on something that I wanted to hit on as well. That for everybody out there that's like, hey, this guy has a shield, like holding a shield. That's why the vault mechanic exists.
No one wants to vault.
You jump over them, they stagger, and they put down their shield, and you can stab them in the back. That's why it exists. For everything else, I'm totally there with you. Overshield sucks. I hate it. There's a lot of things that I may need to tune about that, but tuning, I have to tune. That's like right there. The top two things to tune are overshield on the enemy side, just being a basic middle finger, and battery damage, just having the dumbest number calculation. Those are the two top things on my thing. Like how damage buff will land in 2.3, and again, everybody's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. It is going to take away a lot of the other aspects of damage buff, but it will be more tuned into other aspects. So everything else will have a point to shine. But after I get past that, now I can tune some of these other elements that are just bad. Like overshield, like to AJ's point, like overshield was like, whoa, what do we do? Oh, we're going to make it that the enemy can't stagger or take any hit reacts, and we're going to give him 3 times his health on top of what he's actually doing. It's like, okay, like so like one of those things gone would actually be nice, would actually kind of make that fair. What if he had his normal health but couldn't be staggered, but you could still kill him fast? Or what if he had just 3 times the amount of health on top, but you can still stagger him and just takes a long time to get through all this kind of thing? Like anything like that. That's actually why I like the Blitz Adaptoids like Fire Shield, because it goes away but it comes back, but it doesn't do any of that other stuff. It's periodically an overshield that he can put on himself. Great. That's a much better use of those mechanics. But I think you're sidestepping, like you said, all of the right points of like one of our bigger issues, which is just enemy composition.
Yep.
Our enemy composition is actually the crux of all of this problem. Like, what if we had only one overshielded enemy in a group of bunch of enemies, and there was just a bunch of fodder around him? Like, that would be fine. But the fact is that we just throw overshield on everything, including the drones, just kind of just sucks up the fun of it.
Exactly.
And then of course, like, oh, we're all standing on a circle. Okay. And then what comes out is throwing blinding grenades and rocks and unblockable attacks or unparryable attacks at us. So it's like whatever we're doing, the enemy composition is specifically designed to basically screw us up. And so enemy composition is like one of the bigger things that I've been trying to talk combat about and like trying to tackle, that there are some things that should be with each other. Hey, guess what? If adept adaptoids are out on the field, they shouldn't be able to chain their rock attacks. It shouldn't be like, oh, a hit and then I fall down and another one's targeting on me. That shouldn't happen. But the fact is that all adept adaptoids can get into that loop. It's just like with all the bullshit with all the claw mercs. It's like, hey, I'm trying to take this thing, and then he's gonna throw a grenade and it's gonna pulse out, and it has the exact timing of when it pushes me and I recover to hit me again. Like almost perfect timing. So there are a bunch of different things, which is how the player interacts with the environment, how the player interacts with the enemy, and the enemy composition in contrast to what the player has to do in the environment. And these things were kind of built in a bubble. Yeah, the Claw Merc is just a beast. He has like this cool attack and he has this grenade attack and he can shield himself. And when you put 4 of them in a small room, it sucks.
That's what does.
And that's what happened, is that we built a small room. We built these cool environments. We built these objectives, and then we have a system that says spawn these guys. And periodically it comes in with these nonsensical combos of these guys because that enemy composition was not finely tuned. And that's nothing against the combat team. The combat team was building just a new slew of enemies, the bosses and everything like that. So they really couldn't hammer down some of these idiosyncrasies, which showed up less in the raid, but still there. It showed up less in the raid, I say, because we were actually working on the raid separate of everything else in Wakanda. And I was talking to one of the designers, Matt Guido, about it, like, hey, this is kind of bullshit. Like, how can we mitigate that? Make it a little bit more open, make a little bit of like steps on top of steps, make the circles a little bit bigger. Does not fix all of these problems, but it cushions them. Because what if the circle that you were supposed to hold in the door in the Shuri room was the same size as the hacking circle like everywhere else in the game? Like that little tiny circle, the exact size of the pulse wave of those sonic grenades. It's like, oh, sonic grenade gets on the outside, its pulse wave hits the entire thing. Like that type of thing would have just been nuts. It just would have been bad. And back to AJ's point, it's a learning experience. Like we've had to go through all of this because things were being made that were insulated. Things were being made far too in advance using old designs, but never really went back and iterated on it. And things were made in a clinical manner, kind of coming back to the perks of gear. At launch, gear was clinical because it was made as such. There was almost no difference of anything at all. And it was all just stat sticks, or it was all just over here because it was made because it had to. They just made it because they were running out of time. They were focusing on this thing and they needed to get it done, and they needed to hit a certain bar. And that lack of intentionality made the gear suffer. And now we're running into that part where it's like, hey, there's actually intention over here. There's actually intention in these. And there's actually intention in these. Now all of this other stuff is the sore spots. Man, overshields suck when I can't complain about gear as much anymore. And they've always sucked. But there were things that sucked way harder that was at the forefront of your mind.
I remember all of it. I've been railing against the enemy designs for the entirety of this game.
when Mega Hives came out, the first week Mega Hives came out, I sent a 2-page email to one of the designers who did all the hives. His name's Greg, and my lead producer, about just how much this isn't fun. Yeah. And I think I had like 2 paragraphs on the modifiers, the fact that like 5 cryo adaptoids can spawn and I can't see them and they can one-shot me from any location. And it is just just paragraphs of individual reasons why it wasn't fun. And it basically came down to the part that it was made clinically and put together without anybody really going in a fine-tooth comb and saying, does this really work in this combination? And it doesn't matter how rare that combination is.
Did you mention the tracking too? How certain projectiles will literally follow you through the entire map?
Oh no, there's like 2 paragraphs at the bottom, which is the adept keeper projectiles that suck heroic energy from you. You could dodge it and it'll just come back around at you. And I was like, why am I allowed to dodge this if it doesn't go away? Like, it should just hit me or don't. Just don't leave it around me and all that kind of stuff. It was infuriating. And to just see that level, like, there are individual elements, like this was made and this was crafted and there was a lot of effort put on this and there was a lot of effort put on this. And then everything got put together and like nobody talked to somebody else to say, maybe we shouldn't spawn 5 cryo-adaptoids in a tiny hallway. But we did. And
when it comes to the combat stuff, Sadat, is there, like, I hear the horde mode, I think that's awesome. Like, is there, because I agree that punching stuff is a lot of fun, right? Is there any other like ideas that come to mind or that have been like just thrown around that maybe I haven't heard about that people would love to do? I don't know,
in terms of like missions,
I guess, yeah. It's like, because we think
a mission type. So we have like our villain sectors, we have our threat sectors and all of that outside of horde mode.
Actually, yes. Besides like a horde or survival mode, like you see in like World War Z or Ghost of Tsushima. I've heard people mention something like saving some kind of saving civilian objective where you'll have stuff like that's sort of hero specific, like maybe or where it requires teamwork, the ground enemy has to come here to help with this, and then you're flying in Iron Man, you have to chase down a flying target or something, something that involves the unique skill, more missions that kind of utilize the unique aspects, like Widow's about stealth, Iron Man could fly, Thor's just a god, Hulk smashes, stuff like stuff that kind of takes advantage of the heroes. Obviously people talked about like one of personally my favorite missions in the campaign was the assault on the helicarrier, and I thought, why isn't that a game mode? Take back Avengers Tower. It was a great set piece, and it was really fun. Having not just the story component, but this really interesting set piece that has multiple aspects to it. You're not just in the one room during the assault on the helicarrier. You have to go outside, and you're going against the rain and stuff like that.
Also had objectives solved through combat, because you had to go over to each of these dreadbots and you had to punch them to death. They were basically buttons that you just solved through punching.
Exactly.
And I really liked it. I really liked
better buttons, because you punch those buttons.
So
they
were great.
So the things that celebrate the individual heroes, that's great, right? Like stealth, all the things that you're mentioning, and then things that make you feel like an Avenger, where that teamwork comes into play. And you're doing one thing, you see Iron Man fly by doing another thing. It's like that overall power fantasy spectacle, right? So I can completely align with that. So yeah, it's nice to hear this stuff, right? Because I just don't hear it all. So it's a wonderful place just to get the information and let it kind of just marinate a little bit. So.
Yeah, people tell me stuff all the time.
I bet they do. That's
and I have no one to tell it to. So.
The only thing you can answer to the questions I ask. Fire or trash, fire or trash. The only thing you can answer to the
Hey guys, it's spring. Sit back and relax. You are now rocking with the best. So why don't you look your best by rocking your very own Fire Trash t-shirt? Where to get it, you might ask? Go to financialfelons.com and use code DOOM for 15% off. Support your favorite team and look fly doing it. Take a picture in your shirt and send it to us at doomsquad_DSG on Twitter, and we will be sure to shout you out. I'll be looking forward to seeing your swag. Don't forget, use code DOOM at checkout for your 15% off. See you soon, and let the good times roll.
Fire or trash, fire or trash. The only thing you can answer to the questions I ask. Fire or trash.
Yo. So y'all got to ask the devs some questions on some one-on-ones, right?
Yeah,
it's time to reverse that though. They about to do something to y'all. So AJ, I'm gonna ask some questions that you like to ask, bro.
Oh, I get to ask a question. I like this. Those songs are so good, Doom. Every time those little trailers, I swear, man, I just be bobbing every time.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Truth. Questions for content creators. I guess it's a generic one, but I still like to hear the answers because it speaks to the individuals, which I feel like is a big part of content creation, right? What is the best and the worst part of being a content creator?
Ooh.
It's easy, but I like it because it goes in places.
Johnny Rocker, that's you all day. Go ahead, sir.
Getting to share your life and your passion of gaming with folks on a daily basis and have them open up their world to you. That sense of community is amazing. And probably the worst part just would be the flip side of that, right? That the people that just live their lives steeped in negativity, right? And they just see content creation as just a way to openly attack people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cute little chaos kitty, what you got for that answer?
Yeah, it's basically the same. I mean, the best part is certainly sharing your passion, your experiences, your first moments sometimes that you have with the game with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part might actually be when there's sometimes no one around or the interaction is low. You see the numbers, there are people there, but nobody's talking, and you're basically just talking to yourself. It's hard.
Hmm.
I feel
Alien Fire. I know you don't.
I don't really stream.
Yeah. But you know what? You are a current host of multiple Disney Plus shows. You're on the wrap up. You're new co-host of the weekly wrap up. So, so that's, and you're on the show all the time. So you create content.
And I spend a lot of time on tweeting about Avengers too. So that should count. But I started out with this community through Twitch basically, and I think that to me the best part of content creation, or whatever you want to call it at this point, is all those bonds that you make with people, the relationships you create with them, and just the joy of seeing someone getting into the game for the first time and being like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And you're like, yeah, I know, right? And helping them out. And, it's, to me, it's just, it's fantastic. And being able to share how I feel and my passion. So that's the best part. The worst part is the trolls. Like people who can only bring negativity to everything they lay their eyes on. I don't understand.
Yeah, nor do I. There's a thing called constructive criticism, which is a wonderful.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't speak to know about it. Then I swear, like most people here know that there are people on Twitter who have an account like strictly dedicated to slandering Avengers. Like that's all they do. Like I mean, it just boggles my mind. Why? I mean, you have to be a very miserable person.
They must care a lot.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Set out the game, or you want to reply on that one, big bro?
Oh yeah. I think by far the best part of being a content creator is being a content creator. I mean, let's be honest. It's absolutely awesome that I get to spend my days playing video games, talking about video games and pop culture, and literally get to hang out with hundreds and thousands of people sometimes in my live streams, and we're just chatting, and people give me money to do this, so I've made a lot of money. I've made a lot of money just playing Marvel's Avengers and saying this is what I think about it. So you really can't complain about that. That's great by far. The flip side of that, I know everybody's touched on the negativity, and obviously that comes with the territory. I have, I know, Casual just joked about, the toxic hater thing, because, I'm both a toxic hater who only criticizes Marvel's Avengers and bad faith, I'm also a shill that only ever defends Marvel's Avengers and sucks up to the devs. So that's the sort of discourse you commonly get in the community, in the chat. It literally could be in the same stream. Someone will come in and say, I'm a hater, and someone will also come in and say, I'm a shill. So that's just me having a nuanced opinion, which is not allowed. But I don't think that's the worst thing by far, to me at least. Like, because I've been on the internet a long time, I feel like toxicity just is part of the territory. It's part of the contract. Being a content creator, you're a little more in the spotlight. So there's a little adjustment of more people than usual. Lying about you and saying mean things. But I could take it. It's fine. I mostly think these people are sad. I think the hardest part of being a content creator is actually being a content creator. And what I mean by that is, if you're a dedicated content creator, it is wonderful when it works, and it's awful and sometimes terrifying when it doesn't, because there's a lot of, if you're trying to grow, can be so frustrating because there's a lot of competition. You're trying to get with the companies. You want to be one of those people that get early access to the game because it's a big advantage if you're a content creator. You have to deal with rejection. I've shared my own frustrations with being the biggest Marvel's Avengers streamer in the world, and I can't even be in the private Discord and share my thoughts or my community's thoughts with the devs. I look at the numbers. I'm like, oh, I have people say, oh, you have 9,000 subs. I'm like, yeah, I only have 9,000 subs. It's not, why isn't 100? Why isn't a million? It's a constant grind and struggle. And if you really study it, it can be great when it works, but people only see the end result that looks glamorous, but they don't see all the work that goes behind the scenes. And that, to me, by far, is harder and tougher than anything some weirdo living in their mother's basement can say to me.
Yes, indeed. Well, for me, the hardest part the easiest part, the funnest part, the part I enjoy the most is bringing people together, man. Like, that's really cool to me, you know what I mean? To get people who have 100 subs on the same panel with somebody who has 30,000 subs, you know what I mean? And it helps them, the people with the smaller amount of subs, realize that, yes, I'm a person too. I'm not just a peon. And it helps the people with the large amount of subs realize that I need to stay down to earth if I want to keep what I got going. You know what I mean? So it's a double-edged sword that actually, when it comes together, it's a beautiful thing. And I say the hardest part about content creation for me is time. There's not enough time. Like, I'm a full-time father, full-time husband, full-time job, full-time second job, and I do content creation. You know what I mean?
Busy.
So, exactly. So if there was like 42 hours in a day, I wouldn't have no issues. You know what I mean? But there is only 24, and those are 16 hours of work, 4 hours of family time, and whatever I got left I can do with content creation. So that's like 2 hours of sleep, literally. I'm not even joking. So time for me is really what it is. So AJ, you just asked that one. So Alex, why don't you ask one, boss?
Sure. Anybody else gonna play Arc Raiders when it comes out?
Yes, best question ever.
Alien?
I don't even know what he's talking about. Oh, no, sorry.
Johnny?
I'm going to just say I hope 2.3 is so good that I ain't thinking about Arc Raiders. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Very good.
Cute little chaos kitty.
I haven't heard about Arc Raiders either.
Twin, what you got for me, bro? What you got, dog?
I mean, if they want to send me a code, I'll take a look at it.
Bruh.
It's free. Never mind.
Why are y'all like this, bro?
It's a game with a very very cool kind of like atom punk aesthetic or whatever, and the music in the trailer is just really good, and it has like really interesting traversal mechanics that no matter what, I'm gonna just play because I want to like get that as an experiment in my head. I want to like get figure that out. So take a look at that trailer, and I guess then for like a legit question, is outside of anything that we've already talked about, because we've already covered like everything else.
Right.
I want to like say, without using the word new, like what is one part of the game that you genuinely think needs more work? Like we've already talked about everything. We've already talked about a ton of other things. Like,
can I go first on that?
And sure, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
If y'all could seriously add a boss at the end of every level of the Mega Hive, you know what I mean? You're going through, you got to go through the Mega Hive for 4 levels, right? And you get to the end of level 1, and it's just maybe an Adaptoid, or maybe you're standing on some platforms, and that's the end. You got to go do the whole thing again with the next level. I don't think that doesn't feel rewarding to me. You know what I mean? It just feels like, okay, I got to get to the next level.
That would also give me impetus to pull out every single hacking objective in the Mega Hive, which I hate.
Seriously.
No. Please do. Please put them up again.
I hate those things. I hated them when they were single player, and they were like, yeah, but now you have friends. Still hate them. Still the worst.
God, J-Shock Blast, I hate you, bro. God. Use code J-Shock Blast when y'all playing Fortnite, people. God, bro. Alien, go ahead. Something that you would like to see in the game that's not new, but that's already there that could be worked on.
Everything we've mentioned before.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously why I'm asking the hard question. We've covered like all of the hard points. Like we all know all of the hard points on this thing.
Is there anything left?
That's the big thing. Like there are. I would like to know what's on your mind. Of like, what's the real thing of like, oh yeah, this really grinds my gears.
You know what really grinds my gears?
What? I see what you did there. Well, we were talking about enemy composition earlier. Projectile tracking, like, no, that needs to go like now. I'm sorry.
I get a tail and just have it run around with me the whole map. It's great. So, oh, buddy.
Sometimes
I think it was. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think it was Suki I was playing the OLT with, and literally she's running around the warbot with Kate, and the thing it followed her the entire time. I was like, dudes, what's going on? She's like, yeah, the whole time. It was hard.
And sometimes I actually managed to just like cheat them, like avoid them, but most of the times sometimes you just don't have time, like. You have something more important to do, like trying to take the warbot down, and no. And they take, actually, another thing. When you fall down to your death, like I would very much like if we didn't lose like 90% of our health bar in one shot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Please. It's a real good point. Like
that's the most important one. Please. That's good. No, especially when there's no health back around, like you're like, what am I gonna do? And you've got like a ton of enemies around, and then you're like, no, I'm dead. I'm so dead right now. So yes, please.
It's yeah.
That's
okay. Johnny Rocker, you want to answer that, bro?
I mean, I bet if Alex and AJ just thought real hard for a minute, they know the word that's going to come out of my mouth.
Oh yeah, I do.
Crossplay.
Oh,
crossplay.
Okay, so that's why I'm like, that's why I put out that thing in the very beginning, like. It solved this because it's new.
Well, I mean, crossplay is not new.
Yeah, crossplay is new. We don't have crossplay.
No, I mean,
crossplay
you know
would
what
be
new. I mean, no, I mean that was partly a joke. You guys know I was going to say it. No, the thing that I just enjoy, man, is your combat is so good, right? Eliminate things that keep us from beating up bad mans, right? Like we talked about it, like with the circles and the hacking and the stuff like that, right? Just more action-packed moment, like set piece type stuff, right? Like just using assets and things that are already there. Make it feel like A-Day, right? That is the best piece of content in the game, is going across that bridge and, things are flying in and stuff's happening. And you feel like the beginning of Avengers Age of Ultron, right? When you're seeing the Avengers move across the battle screen. I want that moment all the time, right? And just give us that in the things, and I love it.
Man, nobody likes AIM Prison. That's my favorite mission in the campaign.
Say that one more time.
The AIM Prison, the one that ends in the Monica Rappaccini Exo fight.
Just go. Just go.
Keep going. Hands out.
I'm his twin, so I'll take over. Cute little chaos kitty.
Yeah, I'm just humble. You know, there's this accept all assignments button in the faction, like the faction mission givers and the terminals. I would actually like that to work. I know it works when you have a controller. If you use keyboard and mouse on a PC, it does not work.
What?
Okay, I guess what we could do is refine that into can we please make keyboard and mouse work better? Because some of those button commands just don't work.
Yeah, that's a straight up bug.
Yeah,
That's good to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I know,
Yeah, that's a bug I put in 2 weeks ago, AJ, for that one. The chaos is talking about. There's also another one where you can't select the social menu on keyboard. You're like pressing Y, and you're like, it's not working.
Those would be great bugs to fix. Let's fix this quick.
I think there are a couple more buttons that don't really work with keyboard and mouse, but yeah, that one I've been patiently waiting, and I've mentioned it also a couple of times before, but I've been patiently waiting over a year now since that feature came out.
I hear you, Kitty. I'll go yell at people for you.
Twin, what you got?
Thank you.
So I'm probably going to get called a show for this, which is fine. But I really want the marketplace to be better. Like, I understand there are people who have a problem with microtransactions. Oh, money. But I'm not one of those people. I don't mind spending money on a game for cool stuff. It's awesome.
I appreciate you, Sadat. Thank you.
Yes, I will happily. I have a love-hate relationship with NBA 2K, but I have no problem spending money on a game. If it gives me stuff that I think has value. I played a lot of Dauntless. I love the whole live service thing when it works. And I feel like the marketplace in Avengers doesn't work really. Like the MCU skins are cool. The comic book skins, the once every 9 months when you give a really good one, it works. But I feel like there's a lot of wasted potential. You know, you sell emotes, but you don't have an emote wheel, and the emotes that are there aren't really creative. You know, you have a Fortnite where you can reenact the hug scene from No Way Home and the memes, and you can have Iron Man press a thing on his chest and the suit comes on. You know, Dauntless had this cool thing where you had custom landings. You know, this game you jump out the Quinjet, it's the same every time. You know, why can't you get a custom landing for each individual hero? That would be cool.
It's not the same every time.
Yeah.
So,
It's not the same. Trust me, I set up the random. I know it's not the same every time. But
It's pretty much the same every time.
yeah, so when you say random,
it's not. They're vastly different ways. Continue.
yeah, so when you say better, you're not talking about like display. You're not talking about front end. You're talking about offerings.
Yeah.
You want a marketplace to have more diverse offerings,
Yeah.
or at least more targeted. And to that point, you're and again, correct me if I'm wrong. You're kind of hinting at the fact that if you have to wait a little bit better, but they are more diverse and better stuff, you can. You don't need one every week as long as that one that comes in is just awesome, just knocking it out of the park type of thing.
Exactly. You know, like, and the challenge cards, I feel like those are a waste of opportunities. I respect.
All right, I got my salt mine out. If we want to talk about challenge cards, we'll get to that later.
You're
talking about your
right now, dude.
Yeah, but overall, I feel like the marketplace could stand to be better, you know, for reasons I outlined. And I think if it was more, there would be more people willing to spend money. There's always going to be people who whine and like, oh, I don't like spending money. We don't care about you. If you give us cool stuff as Marvel fans, we will spend money on it. We have no problem. We have no problem doing that.
Yeah, I mean that's the truth, because I know I had said that I wasn't gonna buy nothing else out the marketplace, and then y'all dropped that Fear Yourself Iron Man, and I was the first one in the marketplace copying the Fear Yourself Iron Man. So
I work here. I bought that skin.
That skin fire, bro. That's a fire skin right there.
That outfit came out, and I made Iron Man, and it just looks dope as hell. And I'm like, I don't care.
I don't even play as
I'm gonna
Iron
get
Man
it.
and I bought it. I don't even play as Iron Man and I bought it.
You
So
need to fix
like,
that, Doom. And Quinjet landings are a really good idea to die.
Thank you. Also, I know Harry's going to kill me if I don't ask this, but can Hulk get some love? I'm just saying.
Well, like Hulk in the way of outfits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He
has
some very cool
Brian. Yeah, Brian brought this up a little bit ago but kind of reiterate that, man, Hulk has this weird type of dichotomy that he has. If we want to look at Hulk as an art piece, he has the largest palette, which actually means that subtlety works really well. Like he can have just paint on his body and it actually can be like really subtle and very interesting. He could have just like tatterings of clothing on it and it actually worked really well. But on the other side, making that look good is actually much harder because the palette is so large, because it's so out in your face. And we made some of these we made like all the like the gladiator and all that kits with like the armor and all that kind of stuff on. And we didn't really capitalize on all the assets that we were making for that, because those look pretty good. And then we made all the capes and everything and all that. But then we can't really like the amount Brian very much like kind of hit it on the nose. And we really do have to like kind of come to an understanding that Hulk doesn't really have comic book accurate skins outside of things like World War Hulk, which we kind of already done a half version of, and different versions of him tearing his clothes off and all that kind of stuff. So yes, there are very specific versions of Hulk, but that's something different. There's obviously like Red Hulk and Gray Hulk, and we're probably not going to do anything like that. But there's very specific versions of Hulk, and we can do that. But that's not an outfit. That's like doing way more stuff and having maybe visual effects, and it's more effort. And you're right. That's cool, and we should really try and push towards anything like that, because you're right, Hulk hasn't gotten a lot of love. But I mean, on the same boat, like, neither is Kate. Kate needs love.
You about to start a whole fight in my chat right now, good sir.
Kate and Miss Marvel unfortunately have like a different problem, where they have a smaller palette to like really put stuff on. So you have to have a much larger silhouette change. You have to have a much larger color change for it to be really, to even work in the marketplace. Like the marketplace is just showmanship. You have a Lamborghini out in the front, not necessarily to get people to buy a Lamborghini. You get it to bring people in to look at all the other cars. They're like, I can't afford a Lamborghini, but man, I'll take that Dodge Charger over there because it's like a half the price of that thing over there. It's just like showmanship. Get it in the door. Big, really cool outfits that are just like you can spot them at a distance. They bring people in. And Miss Marvel and Kate unfortunately have a silhouette and a frame that makes it hard to achieve all the time. Like it's incredibly difficult to get, and they have the opposite problem of Hulk. Hulk just has this humongous palette, and you got to fill up the whole thing. You got to make it look really cool, otherwise people are like, it's okay. Exactly. It's like you fill up a little bit over here, just like really good. You're like, oh, okay, but what about all this other stuff to do? But Kate and Ms. Marvel have got to have something spectacular to bring people in to buy that, and I think they need love.
I will say soon to Hulk skins.
There you go.
I need that animated nameplate, sir.
I have seen some things, and I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome."
There you go.
So that was very refreshing.
AJ, go ahead and hit us with one more question, good sir.
Oh, I almost forgot what we were talking about. I was having too much fun. Well, I think Sadat touched on this briefly, but not nearly enough, because it's like one of the biggest things in my mind as like a full-time content creator. And this is like a real thing. How do you handle delivering consistent content, right? And keeping it interesting, keeping it fun. Like I can only imagine, like I'm over here trying to make video games and release consistent content. That's already hard enough. Like you'd releasing videos every day, every week, depending on the flux of what's coming out. And man, it seems so like you're pivoting like all the time. Just that type of question, like how do you even go about that? It seems like a lot of work.
All right, who's first? Alien or?
I'm not a full-time content. Neither is she. It's got to be y'all three. So
I go for it, Sadat.
You can speak to it too, but yeah.
Okay, I'll go for it. So to that I say that part is easy, but it depends on where you're at in the process and what you're doing. So it can be overwhelming, especially when you start getting content creation. You're like, okay, how am I going to? Are people going to get bored? What do I do? What am I doing? I got to keep it fresh. I want to make a video every day, but the solution is you don't. Like Mr. Beast, he is the biggest content creator in the world. Like, no, every time he drops a video, it's millions and tens of millions of hits. He dominates YouTube. No one's bigger than Mr. Beast. He makes two types of videos every time. Two types of videos. It's some kind of challenge or some kind of giveaway. He has the same style of thumbnail for everything else. So the way you get around that paralysis is you study the greats, you study how the algorithm works, who's doing well, you look at your own niche, and you pick what's right for you and your brand and your skills and your personality, and you simplify it. You don't need to make a video every day if you can't. If your niche doesn't lend itself to making a video every day, you don't. If your specialty is gaming news, then yes, you should make a video every day because there's always something to talk about every day. You're recapping the news. If you make build videos, you don't need to make a video every day because there's not that many builds to make in a day that are going to be interesting. So you have to understand what your niche is, what your strengths are, and what angle you're trying to take, and then you just simplify it and do that same thing over and over again, but at a higher quality than the average creator, and you'll pretty much be fine.
Okay, cute little Chaos Kitty, what you got?
Yeah, all good points that Sadat mentioned. I would like to add that also, especially if you're starting out, fun is very important. You need to have fun. I mean, it's important later on as well because you want to provide entertainment to the people, and the people will see and realize when you're not having fun with what you're doing. So you always have to keep that in mind. And when you start feeling like something you're doing, playing a video game, and you don't feel the fun anymore, you have to move on. You have to switch. Can't stick around even if you fear like I'm going to lose a lot of viewers because in the end you'll just lose more because even those that were there will eventually just go away and don't move on to the next game with you.
Right.
So yeah, fun, very important.
Johnny Rock?
For me, I feel like I have a slightly different perspective just because I only do Twitch, right? So for me, it's not about, trying to be early and stuff on news. And one of the things that's very surprising is people ask me, like, what did you like better, being a touring musician or streaming? And there are so many parallels there. I mean, it is so much of the same vibe to where it's real recognizes real. You know what I mean? And it's about you finding a way to get your true personality and who you are to go through that webcam into your content, right? And, for me, it's easy. I love comic books. I love Marvel. I love wrestling. I like heavy metal. Right. I stick to the lanes, the things that I'm passionate about, and it comes out when I talk about it, and I do well doing those things. Right. The hardest thing, is your dependence on if you get too comfortable in one category. Right. If you get
that's kind of what I was thinking.
Right. If you get too dependent on one game, I mean, I feel like I can say this as an adult, right? But like when you guys got hit with the XP boosters, that hurt me, right? Because, as a content creator, I had to take a stand and say, I don't agree with this, right? And, and I did my thing. And I mean, I lost 90% of my income when that happened, right? But integrity and stuff is a big part of it. And, so it's one of those things. There's a very much a symbiotic relationship between the developer, the game, and the content creators, right? And I feel like that is one of the reasons why we've got 209 folks here watching right now is this is a special game, a special community, right? And it's a family, right? And when you can find that, there's enough room at the table for everybody to eat. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything to that, Ellie? I know you're not a full-time creator, neither am I, but if you want to add anything to that, you can.
No, everything's been said, and Johnny said it like so beautifully.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Do you devs have any more questions for the panel?
Not questions, no. I think I just want to say thanks to all y'all for always being there, supporting and playing the game. And you guys help a lot. You get the exposure, and then I mean, it's awesome to see. I think the thing that I've learned, which is funny, is how much content creators control the narrative of a game, which is really interesting to me. Like the public, it's like I had no clue, and I mean, not fully, but there's a large chunk of it where it's people are following the YouTube or the whatever, because I can see that nowadays, and I'm like, oh man, you can really see like a thread or a through line going through this content, and it changes, and it's like it'll change when the patch comes out, it'll change again in the future. So I guess that's more of a statement, but I appreciate it. And then I wanted to talk on two quick things. These are super quick. One is Alien mentioned Hulkbuster status effects earlier. She wants to do Vibranium. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah. And Unibeam, don't forget Unibeam. That's
all of it. I'm just saying that's a good idea, and we hear you. That's a great idea. We already said the Hulk skins. And then, I wanted to blow up Kende real quick and just let you all know, not for this patch, but the things that man is doing with his little team are mind-blowing. So I can't wait for past this patch. I don't know when this one will be, but it is bonkers. And it's like,
we're talking 2.5?
I don't know which patch. I don't care. I'm not putting a number on. The idea. You go, Kende.
2.4 has a plan. And we're going to try and get whatever we can in there, but it can't be like a really big thing. But I'm working on other stuff.
But mind-blowing and stuff like that I see. And I'm like, yo, this changes the game. Like, talk about combat, everything. This changes the game. It's when you see ideas like that where you're like, wow, man. It's like, it reminds me of Diablo 2 because that's one of my big games, right? And you get something in Diablo 2, it changes the way you play, da-da-da-da. It's all about the gear. It's all about finding stuff to chase and providing that. And it's coming there in multiple ways. And I'm like, this is glorious.
I'm going to just say this. When y'all add that status effect to that smoke arrow for Kate, it's game over, baby. For real. Woo!
Het got VFX for that. Like, I originally just did it where the smoke cloud just applies the status effects. But Pet got VFX. So the cloud like changes colors, all that kind of stuff. It looks so good.
I can't wait, bro. Stop playing. You're playing too much. You're playing too much. All right, real quick, let's do a little chill session. Questions for everybody on the board. I know we already did music, but let's put on some more couch music because it's kind of.
Oh God!
I love that couch
music. You love the couch music, Sadat.
No, I don't.
You love it. You love it. It's your favorite thing. You DM me and ask me where you can get it from. Don't lie.
I hate it so much.
Is there music you prefer, Sadat?
This is his favorite song on the planet, yo. It's called "Daydreaming" by Streamyard.
Shout out to Bob.
We're going across the board. What is your favorite mission in game right now for Marvel's Avengers? Just going across. We're starting with you, Alex.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Single player, aim prison. I love it. The sneaking aspect.
Why you keep saying that, man?
It's a good mission. There's like in between parts. There's like really cool environmental effects. It ends in the Rappaccini Exo fight, which is actually pretty well like done mini boss fight and everything. And it's one of the few times the Black Widow can really do a half sneaky type of assassin type of nonsense. And I really like that mission. And there's just no way we can make that multiplayer because it's just so tied to the single player. And I love that one.
I hear you. Your favorite in-game mission, AJ?
I appreciate Kende just dying on that hill.
He's serious with it.
I appreciate that. Love this man. I'm simple. I'm raid right now because it's all end game, so I usually just hop in there and have fun with it. Trying to see who I can push. Right now I'm on Panther, so I got vibe payloads on my melee crits. So now I'm popping off, and now we're just gonna keep on refining him a little bit. So,
all right, Alien.
Single player would be beating the odds. I could play this mission over and over and over and over again. I love it so much. And when it comes to multiplayer, the raid.
You're a raid girl, huh? You living in that raid, Alien?
Well, no, because I don't play it that often. But and when it's not buggy, because sometimes
What bugs? Zero bugs.
Yeah,
that's a feature.
I love
Did somebody really just say that's a feature?
Yep.
Really? I'm not gonna disappear, but y'all wild for that one. Johnny Rocker, what you got for me, sir? Favorite?
I'm gonna tell you what. Whoever was in the room when they designed a mission where I could be Tony Stark flying into outer frickin' space to Iron Maiden they speak to my soul. Because I'm going to tell you what, man, I lit up. I was choked up, jumping up and yelling, and about to cry at the same time because I am Iron Man and Johnny Rocker are one thing. It was beautiful. So
Tony Rocker, I ain't even
that's
mad
right.
at you, bro.
Nice start. Let's go.
I want you to know, Johnny, half the development team had the same response that you did. Especially when we saw the finished version of that, we were all like,
AIM Space
what is
Station
happening right now?
is such a good sequence.
Yes, it's
Such a good sequence.
It is.
Absolutely.
Cute little Chaos Kitty, what you got for me?
Okay, there are a lot of campaign missions I like, but if we're talking more like endgame and initiative, I would say it's 2 Eastern Seaboard missions. It's And We're Back and Mayhem Over Manhattan, because those are the missions where I feel most like an Avenger, going in, saving a lot of other people, the Inhumans. That's what being an Avenger is all about for me, and I love just doing these missions. Everything that's there, all the side objectives, really get everyone. I just love doing that.
So that the game, a favorite in-game mission, sir?
So unfortunately, as an in-game player, the missions I play most often aren't my favorites at all. Like I play the raid when I can. I farm, but I don't particularly like that. But I'd say my favorite is definitely the MODOK boss fight. That whole guy. I wish I don't even think about it just being like a villain sector. I think it would be awesome if you just had like a chapter select for some of these campaign stuff, so you can play some of these missions again just as they are, rather than have to go through the whole thing over again. Because I thought that was just an awesome set piece. All the Avengers are together. You're right up on all the enemies you have to break into deeper with different characters. Then then you take turns fighting MODOK. With Thor, with Widow, and then Kamala has to come in and go big in and save the day with the Kree Century. I felt like this is how an Avengers game should would feel like. You get the goosebumps. That'd be cool. And it'd be awesome if you had a Century boss fight in the future. But that's another thing. But just that set piece, that feeling of all the Avengers working together, and there's still a lot of boss punching, but there's a lot of punching, and there's just a lot of different things that bring in all the different Avengers and just makes you feel like a real hero.
Most well put together hero in your opinion, Alex K.
Oh
Damn, I can't think about that one. I think the hero that has the hero has holes, but because of just how it fits their character, I think Iron Man is probably the best built.
Okay.
Like the heroics fit, the weapons fit. It's like, oh yeah, there's no like Swiss Army knife like you get with Spider-Man, but it's just guns. You have a suit of armor and guns.
AJ, best put together hero.
I'm looking at the heroes right now. It's a hard question.
It is. It really is.
No,
it doesn't mean the best hero in the game.
No.
It's just the one who's the best put together. So,
and the answer is going to change tomorrow. I scared my dog. Sorry, Joe.
You can pick one that's not in the game yet, too.
No, you can't. Stop for you. You say Captain Marvel is the best. You heard me? Oh, I'm sorry. My
brain is torn right now between Thor and Panther.
Thor and Panther. Flip a coin.
I'm only going to say Thor because of most well put together. Kind of what Kende was saying, but I do love how Thor just kind of, all the heroics work together beautifully. The lightning, how it plays off of him. Just the way he feels wielding the hammer, because it's chunky as hell. I feel really good about him. Panther's very close, though. Very close.
Alien Fire.
Oh, you know what my answer is going to be?
Yes, ma'am, but you got to tell the people. I know, of course, but they don't.
It's my baby bird.
Yes, indeed. The Hawkeye himself.
Yeah, I love everything about him. I love the way he plays. I love his heroics. No, he doesn't have the best traversal, but I don't care. That grab of arrow has saved my butt. And the way he's animated in combat, I mean, Alex.
When he stabs that thing on Arrow in your
I
throat,
know.
that looks just
Yeah, that's
so good.
unnecessarily violent, right?
It looks so
don't care.
good, though.
He
He shoves it in too. He's like, ah!
You gotta stir it around a little bit.
Well, I don't really care about the sword, but everything that having to do with the bow and the arrow is mwah. So yeah. Thank you.
Johnny Rocker, I know you're gonna say Tony Stark, but I would like to hear you say Tony
I am,
Stark.
but I'm also gonna say repulsor players for life, right?
Oh.
Like I know missiles are the meta and all that.
Lasers
but-
right now, bro.
Lasers.
It's them lasers right now.
Yeah.
But the thing, well, I've been away for a minute, but
That's good.
the
You gotta
thing
do other
is,
things.
you never feel more like Iron Man than when I'm in the middle of the things and I'm animation canceling out of melee to throw a repulsor blast and do the spin and do the slam. It's so fluid. And as a streamer, I would literally have moments where like, oh, I got to remember to talk. Right? Because I'm in the middle of doing all the awesome things and you're just in the zone and I love it. Love it.
Kitty, the most well put together character, hero.
Iron Man, easy on that one.
I love all this.
And especially with the raid gear that gives him the status effect on all his ranged abilities. I mean, how much more versatile can a hero get in this game? You know, you can literally switch on the fly from missiles to lasers and repulsors, whatever you need. That's so good.
Twin, you frozen or you alive? Okay, you moving. I see you. You look froze for a second, bro. He was like, go ahead, though, homie.
I was thinking about which one, and I have to say Hawkeye overall, because I think more so because it was. Then this is hats off to the whole team. when Kate Bishop was announced as the first DLC hero, and then Hawkeye was announced as the second, people were like, "Oh, 2 archers, oh, blah blah blah," and I just want to say that the team did a phenomenal job making a guy that shoots arrows not only interesting but incredibly powerful in a way that was also believable. And Hawkeye, Thor feels like a god, but Hawkeye, under the right circumstances, is arguably they're both S tier characters in my opinion.
Yep.
But Hawkeye, but Hawkeye arguably can be said to be even stronger than Thor under the right circumstances.
I agree.
And I think was an incredible achievement by the whole team, who not only had to distinguish him from Kate, but also make him interesting and viable against all the other heroes. And I think they did an absolutely masterful job, from his powerful, precise melee with his sword. You can shoot you can have a really good build with the razor arrows. His suspension has a variety of different issues, like opening cages. There's so much you can do with Hawkeye if you really look into it. And I just really appreciate it. Like every time I play Hawkeye, I appreciate everything that went into making him such a powerful character.
We knew what we were dealing with when we created him, Sadat, to that point. We were like, like homeboy here amidst the god and everybody else. Like we better do something.
Okay, aside from Iron Man, I think he's the most versatile character.
I agree.
The most versatile hero in the game. Like literally, I'm not saying this because he's my main, but I mean, and it's fun. It's funny because at first I was like, yeah, he's just an archer. Like I had no interest in him. And then the more I started playing him, the more I found out everything that he could do, and oh my god, like yeah,
he can even fly. Like it's crazy.
He can
kind of. And
shout out to my dude Aquatones. Thank you, good sir. I think the character who I think is the best put together is not my main, and my two mains are Hawkeye and Thor. I think Kate Bishop is just a beast of a character. From her traversal to her, I mean, people don't really mess with her ultimates, but she's got like 3 of the best ultimates in the game. I mean, for the little guys, you can use the little, you know, the warp, not the warp arrow, but the suspension arrow that brings everybody together. Or if you got, in the raid, use the wormhole and you can get your whole team across the platforms. You can also use the one where she teleports and blows up everything that's around her. If you could add status to that, you sending me if you do that. You sending me if you do that, bro. Like, there's no more Excelsior because I'm gonna be dead, all the way dead. But I think she's just a monster of a character. I mean, crowd control like crazy. You know what I mean? Not so great against your bosses. I mean, she's not one-shotting anybody. You know what I mean? But she's a support character. You don't need her to one-shot anything. She can help everybody else out. Her what do you call that thing? The decoy is one of the sickest things in this game, bro. If you set your decoy up right, you're dropping health everywhere. You're going this place, you're going that place, and you're bouncing back. She's just a well put together character in my point of view. So hats off to the team for Kate Bishop, one of the sickest players in the game. Yes, indeed. Let's go. Most skilled player you have ever seen play Marvel's Avengers. Starting with you, Alex.
What?
Oh,
that's rough.
Most skilled player. I normally don't call it out, but so there was the one YouTuber in the very beginning. I think it was like King Greek or something like that.
King Greek, yo, he's from the Doom Squad, baby.
Yeah. Was it King Greek? I just need to double check. Was it that? Somebody made like an AMV level of like combat stuff for Black Widow and Iron Man, and I can't remember who did that, but King Greek did do some other cool videos that I really did enjoy.
Yes,
and then of course one of the other ones that like talked to both of us was Yard Rats, and I totally think like I probably haven't seen somebody play a better Kate than that.
Mm-hmm. Yard Dress is the man. That's the reason why you are here today, good sir, because of Yard Dress. So shout out. AJ, most skilled player you've ever seen play the game.
When it comes to Kate, probably Matzo Balls.
No, play the game. Any character.
No, but I gotta break it down right now because it's too hard.
Oh, okay.
So Matzo Balls, my friend, he's Kate. The nastiest Kate I've ever seen in my life, probably. He always has to play on the raid. I'm like, you need to get over here because he's killing everything. And then most skilled, probably good friend, Mr. O, dude. O's nasty at this game, man, and he just gets it. So with all the payloads and everything, so I mean, every build I've ever seen him play, he was always destroying everything. So, and it's helped me get better as well. So, very skilled player.
For sure. Shout out Alien Fada. Who is the most skilled player you have ever seen play the game?
I don't like to do that.
I know you don't. Handle your business. Somebody you just was watching and was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. Oh my gosh, I wish I could do that.
Okay, all right. So I have to shout out Bob, Duck, and Weed with Iron Man. I mean, one of the reasons why I can actually play Iron Man now and why I was able to take him into the raid, which I never thought would be ever possible is because of Bob. Like the way his builds and the way he plays Iron Man and everything, like, yeah, that's definitely, yeah, shout out to Bob.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jay Rocker.
Man, it's hard. It's hard to pick one, right? I'm going to shout out Pewter Odin as a Kamala player. Pewter can absolutely bring, and I know a lot of people like, but he did the comic glitch. Dude, before that even existed, like Pewter was saving people's in-game runs. Come on, for a long ass time. Let me tell you, I was one of them.
Yep, me too.
Right. So Pewter's the man, and it's
hard to do one. It's hard to do one.
That's what I'm saying. It's so hard, right? Bob, I mean, I agree with. I think Bob's probably the premier Iron Man player. I'm gonna say High Ruler. I'll put High Ruler in there, man. I've seen High Ruler doing builds before people had thought about it. You know what I mean? And like, I think High Ruler's thinking of the game. I really appreciate. Like I like people that play it differently. You know, like I said, like so many people yelling at me about being a repulsor Iron. Why are you doing that? And it's like,
Because you can headshot. That's why.
right, right.
Your Swiss Army knife Tony. I mean, Swiss Army knife Tony is just amazing. Like seriously.
It works. It works. But yeah, so that's gonna be my 2. But pewter, man.
Kitty, what you got?
I'd actually say it's Johnny with his Iron Man because he can, because he does all that stuff with the animation canceling. He perfected his play style. He's not just going for the best gear that gives the highest numbers. Obviously that too, but that he also adds that form of playing that I would say that determines the skill for me.
Until Alex took away my extended evade. Looking at you, sir.
I didn't take it away. Go get it on Hive Mind gear.
Damn.
There we go.
Symbiotic the Gamer, who you got as the most skilled player you've seen play the game, sir?
Me.
I love it.
No,
I love it.
Okay. I make fun of him. I make fun of him all the time, but Genius Button is the most skilled Marvel's Avengers player in the world, and it's not even close. When Doom announced Secret Wars, I'm like, oh, I'm going to win that because I'm going to put Genius Button on my team, and no one's going to beat us. And we did. The reason why he's not more known is because he doesn't like publicity. He doesn't make YouTube videos. He doesn't stream. He barely posts on Twitter. He doesn't play the game right now because he's waiting for content, bug fixes, and heroes. But when he was in the weeds, he was in the weeds. Like if you listen to him talk about, he can talk your ear off. He sounds like Alex when he's talking about gear, subs and perks and everything like that. It almost sounds like he knows more than Alex sometimes when he's talking about specifically about perks. This guy was obsessed with the game, and his builds will trash pretty much everybody's. So I do, even though I make fun of you, Genius Button, I do respect your dedication to the game.
Okay, I'm gonna say 2 people who I think are the most skilled people I've ever seen play the game. The person who I've ever watched the build video from was Lejeune, and the dude is a monster at every hero. Like he can give you a great build to go in any situation, and you be straight. And my dude Fate Walker, him in the Tournament of Power really showed me what Kate can do and how to, use her proficiently as a support character. You don't have to just scattershot everything, and you know how to use your teleports precisely, and the warp arrow. And I mean, he was the first person I actually saw warping across the damn the platforms in the raid. I was like, oh wow. Me, Sadat, and Lejeune and Trix are sitting there for like 20 minutes trying to get across this thing, and he was just like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get over there real quick. And that's how much time they beat us by, was that 20 minutes that we took on that one part, and he just warped that road across. That dude is a monster to me. So,
by the way, Doom, you're not supposed to mention that because it's a cheese. It's a cheat.
Oh man, you know what?
No, the warp arrow, the teleporting arrow.
It's not
AJ do it. AJ did it in the raid. So I'm good.
The warp arrow is like he fires the warp arrow, allowing everybody else to take the portal.
Yeah, but we're supposed to use the platform.
Why? If you got a warp arrow.
I know exactly.
I don't call that cheese. That's just
cheese.
Using the tools you got.
Thank you.
That's right. Thing. Like Hawkeye flying. I mean, he's got wings. It's fine.
I mean, his name is Hawkeye, right? He's named after.
I'm not gonna fix that. I could fix that. I'm not gonna fix that.
Please, don't take our fun away.
Don't do it. Going to. I know. I'm sorry.
All right, last question for the panel, and then I will let y'all do a little bit of hypotheticals before we get up out of here. And the last question I have is, after patch 2.3 drops, I'm pretty sure there will be an influx of players because it's new content. Are y'all ready for Secret Wars #2, baby? Let's go! Start with you, Alien Fighter, because you're going to be a panel person. So, are you ready for Secret Wars 2?
Of course I am. Thanks.
Johnny Rocker, another panel person. Are you ready for Secret Wars 2?
Does a bear shit in the woods?
Yes, it does. Cute little Chaos Kitty is going to be a correspondent this go round, along with Synchro Champ and Slipshot TV. Are you ready for Secret Wars 2, madame?
Do you even have to ask?
Seriously.
I don't, but I have to. This is the show. Sadat the Gamer, the champion of Secret Wars 1. Are you ready for Secret Wars 2, good sir?
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. I don't even like it. You know what?
He's waiting on a
Go
code.
somewhere, bro.
No.
Bye. I can't even kick him out. They don't even let me kick him out. Damn. Alex K. I don't know if you're even. Yeah, you are aware of the tournament.
Yeah, I watched the last one.
Are you ready for the Secret Wars 2, boss?
Hell yeah.
Is
I want
She-Hulk
to
gonna
see.
be in it?
I'm sorry, who?
Oh, sorry, what?
Yeah. Yeah, can we see a Team Crystal? How about a Team Crystal?
Team Dev.
Secret Wars.
I mean,
I
I don't know
Yeah,
if
it'd be
AJ,
really
you
cool.
don't play on Steam, do you?
What's that?
Yeah.
You don't
AJ,
play on
is
Steam, do you?
She-Hulk gonna be in Secret Wars 2?
I don't
bro?
play on Steam. Wait, what? You're going wild over there. And I don't play on Steam.
I know I could get 2 people with me to play for a Team Crystal for sure, and one of them is really bad. So that would not be very helpful.
Oh, Team Crystal Dynamics, let's
Yes,
get it,
please.
yo.
Well, no, I'd have to find a 4th because I'm not.
Brian will play.
Brian, oh, they on two
Brian.
different they're on 2 different consoles.
Yeah,
now.
we're on. Brian plays
Oh.
on PS. I play primarily on.
No,
Steam.
he played. Oh.
Brian plays on
okay,
PS, he plays
yeah,
on Steam,
PS and
yeah.
Xbox. Yeah. Oh, damn.
Find you a
Yeah,
team.
figure
We
it
gonna
out.
get you in
Yeah,
there.
I'll find a team.
Bro.
We also got to put in. Oh man, I don't know if it's in patch notes. You should probably really think about using other major artifacts.
Oh, God.
Oh, like the staff of Khonshu?
Yeah, maybe.
No. The
Bro, you
major
really-
artifacts that exist.
Ooh,
Why are y'all like this, bro?
You should think about using other major artifacts that exist because I double checked with Pet on Friday and I don't know. I need to check up with Hunter on the patch notes, but I think the problem of locking out people using the
Void
Pimtech
Tech?
or the Void Tech and the Kakuna band, I think they got fixed
Oh, nice.
What-
in the next one. So
What about the 30%?
30 per on the
Particle
Pimtech.
damage. Yeah.
Well, again, that's 30% buildup, the 3 seconds duration. The thing that I want to point out is you can use 2 Pimtech teleporters at the same time. I think that's how it landed. Is how we fixed it. So you can have 2 Hank Pims out there.
Well, that's actually cool because once he came out before, nobody else could do anything. So,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
the
having
problem
2
is that you just locked everybody out. But that sucks. And combat team fixed that. And I'm
Nice.
like, hey, can you fix that? And he's like,
Interesting.
I think everybody can spawn Hank Pym now. And I'm like, if that's true, awesome. And we shouldn't fix that.
No, definitely not.
That's, yeah,
There's a
seriously.
bug that came from the community.
Hyrule said he's subbing for you guys since he's basically an employee anyway. So.
Oh, is he hired now? That's good.
So if you're buffing the major artifacts, does that mean when you pop the Nornstone, the Tactagon effect isn't going to activate? Because that's been a thing for a while.
The Nornstone of Lethal Will and the Tactagon explosion happens?
Yeah, it happens frequently. Like you'll have the Nornstone equipped, and
Don't tell me y'all didn't know about that.
You'll do the double. You'll try to do the damage buff, and instead Quell from the Tactagon will.
Okay, no, the buffs are mixed up.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, the VFX for the explosion happened? I'm like, I don't remember seeing that bug.
Yeah, Trix didn't do a video on that.
no, he did.
Like, as for like the wrong buffs showing up, yeah, that's something that we're trying to figure out. And ultimately, it's just a cooldown buff. They're all the same. They just have a different word on them.
Okay.
So it says Quell, and it shouldn't.
Oh, okay. It's still doing what it's supposed to do, but it's saying it's doing.
Yeah, it's just a cooldown buff. It's
Okay.
It's like, hey, you've got 5 minutes until you can use it again, but it says Quell, which is from the Tactagon,
Right, the
and not
Tactagon.
whatever that other thing
Back
is.
to fixing
You
all
know,
the words
yeah.
and the gear and all the things that we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
very
it kind
important.
The words.
Words.
words
are very
suck,
important.
man.
Well,
By
guys,
the
to be
way,
honest with y'all, we are literally like 45 minutes overtime. This has been way too much fun.
Sorry.
So let's just get one hypothetical question from everybody on the panel. Keep it short and simple because we got to get up out of here. Start with you. One hypothetical that you would like to see, maybe see in the game, maybe a hero to come, maybe a mission. One hypothetical alien.
Ooh, hero. Hypothetical. Wow. I just next because I don't have.
She said next.
I have to think
You
about it.
can't pass.
We'll come back to you, Kui. We'll put you at the bottom. We'll come back to you. All right, Johnny Rocket, what you got?
Crossplay. I mean, as a content creator, being able to play with friends everywhere with their chosen characters would be the dream. So
Okay, that was a simple, easy one. Hypothetical,
Absolutely.
Kitty.
Squirrel Girl.
Probably more obtainable than crossplay at this point.
This is wow.
That's fair.
Sure.
So Dr. Game on one hypothetical, good sir.
Oh yeah. Hypothetically, I like to hear AJ and Alex talk about hypothetically, of course, what potentially Captain Marvel's hero kit could look like if hypothetically she was added to the game. And hypothetically, you guys had to work on
I
her.
hate you, dude.
I mean, like all of this is like mostly AJ because like he's the one. Like, all of this is like, like my hypotheticals are like completely conjecture. Like I have absolutely no basis on like creating it. So like hypothetically, I mean, ultimately she's kind of in an Iron Man state where she doesn't have like different type of power blasts or weapons to select, but she also can punch like way better. So we're actually kind of looking at like a flying character that has like a lot of really good melee stuff and has like power blast. Like that's hypothetically what I see Captain Marvel kind of being.
When she hypothetically goes like Super Saiyan in Ultimate, right?
It's like rah and then punches something and
just goes banana splits, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean we're talking about like a cosmic character. It's like they just fly, strength, power beams. It's like
not gonna lie, Sadat, my brain is overwhelmed with heroes.
Just throw everything in the kit. It's fine, whatever.
Okay, my hypothetical would be since I had all three of you guys on the show at different points. You, Brian, and Brian, AJ, and Alex, right? So I can't remember which one of you said it was, but it was a Sentry question. We can't bring Sentry in the game because if he didn't punch somebody and they didn't immediately explode, it would be silly. I'm like, Thor is in the game, Hulk is in the game. Hypothetically, Captain Marvel may hypothetically come with the hypothetical Kree raid. Bring us damn Sentry. Could you hypothetically do that? Because I don't care if he can't just punch somebody one time. I want to play a Sentry.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We could tune Sentry, and again, this is all a hypothetical situation. We could tune Sentry to be fair and balanced, but it comes back to the whole point of like, what are still some of the players' complaints about Hulk? Is that he just doesn't punch as he should in the comic books or his movie. He doesn't take a punch like he does in the comic books and movie. We failed to tune him to a point that he really doesn't feel comic book accurate. Thor, on the other side, has numbers so far in one direction that it's like, okay, he can't take a punch, but I can blow holes in things with lightning, and like the fact that the Mjolnir's hammer pins mainly anything on the ground and all that kind of stuff. So there are elements of Thor that meet that standard of comic books, and there are elements of Hulk that meet that, but it's like it's not in the early game. Like you don't feel that Hulk power in the early game, and Sentry would have this problem in spades. It would be the worst case of this. We're talking about a character who, like, at its base level is punching World Breaker Hulk, like at an even standard just by existing. It's like how can we actually
just flyback reacts on every hit? He just
flyback. It's like how can we make? And then also at the end of the day, Sentry has like the most boring superpower, where it's just
he's
like
pretty much Superman. So
it's just Superman. It's like I can fly, super strength, beams, all that kind of stuff, and like I can't die, and I have like 1,000 burning suns inside of me or something like that or whatever. And he's just so boring in like a tactile sense when you were playing it. When you're watching that or you're reading it, Sentry is like this crazy powerful thing like going off in there. But like when you're playing it, if you're not punching an Exo to death in one hit, like that's not Sentry. You're just still playing another flyer that punches things. You're playing at that point. You're playing like just Rogue.
So
you're playing
I don't know
Captain
about
Marvel.
that.
Whatever.
I feel you. hear you like loud and clear. But I don't think that really matters because I mean, like
nobody wants Century Doom. We want Doctor Strange and Wanda.
Calm your nerves down. You know what? You know what? Go sit backstage.
Oh,
That's what you
damn.
do. Go sit back. I finally got it. I got him, yo.
Century.
In real life. But no, what I'm saying, they were saying the same thing about Wanda. Wanda's too strong for the game. Her magic is too, powerful. And I'm like, man, put Wanda in the game. Put Strange in the game, bro.
I'm still in the boat. I'm still in the boat of the Scarlet Witch's power set for our game right now is just crazy. Like, we need to expand the game a little bit more. We need to get a little bit more of like the other bigger threats and all of that kind of stuff in there, because like in a comic book sense, like what is Super Adaptoid to Scarlet Witch? Nothing. It's just the same as like a friggin' Pinto on the side of the road. Just like, get it out of there.
I feel the same way about the Super Adaptoid and Thor, though. And y'all had him in there, so that's.
I mean, Thor still gets punched in the face. Thor still gets punched in the face all the time.
We can make any hero. We can make any hero.
Them. Yeah. Let me stop.
I hear you, Doom. I feel that, brother. They take time, but yeah, we can make any hero. It does. It obviously got to balance them and all the fun words, but any hero can be crafted.
Beyond the tuning of Sentry, I really think that there are more visceral, tactile heroes that we can do before we even get to Sentry.
Vision.
Like, not only is there Vision, I mean,
I love Scarlet Witch.
Again, everybody is forgetting, mainly because of the movie that it came in, we have Black Knight in the MCU now.
Who wants Black Knight in the game, bro?
Are you talking about a mystical dude with the friggin' Excalibur who has a pocket dimension taking himself to Avalon and all that kind of stuff? It's a demon sword. Dimension. It talks to him.
Bruh, I would rather Daredevil so much faster. I'm so serious.
Oh, yeah.
He has no powers. Like, I'm serious.
Daredevil passed.
Pass on Daredevil.
I feel you, but Black Knight. You know what, chat? I need to talk to my chat. Hold on, chat. Would y'all? I can't even. I was about to say fire and trash. Never mind. We good. We good.
The conundrum of this game.
Give me
there's just so many heroes.
Give me American Chavez over a Daredevil.
Okay, American Chavez is a hero that sounds good for this game, actually.
I'm right. Yeah, I'm right there with it. That sounds pretty cool too. And at least we can all get on the board of it's not ever going to be triathlon, because that was a dumb hero.
Man, I said try it. Okay. Let's wrap this up. Y'all killing me right now.
There were some bad heroes in the Avengers. There were some really bad heroes.
Really. Somebody say Quake, and that's all I got to say on that note. But anyway,
I know my hypothetical. I know what I do.
Oh, we forgot about you.
It's something that should be. It's been teased, and it would require building a new biome, but I don't care. I want Asgard, and I want the rest of Thor's iconic mission. I want to see, follow up on that. That's what I
need. That Thor and Loki throwdown.
Yes, please.
It would be a better hero. Valkyrie, bring her. That'd be a better hero to throw in there.
Whatever, Lady Sif or whatever.
James Foster was a Valkyrie.
Oh, Jane Foster is a Valkyrie.
He is Valkyrie right now. Right?
Who's Jane Foster?
I don't know.
That was interesting.
Somebody said Yelena. I couldn't hear y'all. My ears is all messed up, man. Anyways, this is the portion of the show that I actually love. This is like my favorite part of the show, is where we take a smaller content creator or co-worker for you guys and put them on the map, get some eyes on them. And we're gonna start with you, 2020 Twin. Who would you like to put on the map tonight, good sir?
Let's put on my moderator Aqua show, mainly just because I'm trying to put a fire under him so he can make more YouTube videos.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but in terms of people actually making content, I really enjoy Misplaced, so shout out DSG.
Yes, indeed. All right, I will. I'm probably not gonna be in the after show. I got to go put my kid to bed, but y'all see y'all in the after show. See you in a minute, bro. Cute little Cactus Kitty. Put somebody on the map, please.
Since Suki isn't here today, I will put Azraia Kino on the map for her.
Sounds good to me.
But she's so great and very entertaining. If you ever watch her play Among Us or even Fortnite, she's so much fun. If you want to get a look at her, imagine Tiny Tina. That's exactly her. She sounds exactly the same.
Sounds good to me. Make sure you put her in the chat. You are a mod. I will see you in the after show, my dear. Johnny Rocker, put somebody on the map, good sir.
I mean, I know y'all been thinking this hat I've been wearing all day stands for totally hypothetical Gottmeyer, but it's actually for Twisted Heat Gaming. Got to shout my man out, Twisted Heat, dude. When everybody ran from Avengers, when it was not the popular thing and everybody was mad, Twisted hung in there true. Man loves comic books, man loves the game, and he's banging it out every day, man. And I appreciate him. So Twisted, love you, bro.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you. See you in the after show, good sir. Alien Fighter, put somebody on the map.
I hope I'm gonna do this right. I'd like to put on the map Miss Riz Serenity. This is girlfriend, better half, whatever. She's absolutely great, and I know that she's been doubting herself a bit recently, and she's just beautiful, radiant. Like she's got so much positive energy on stream. So yeah, I wanna shout out to her.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you. I will definitely see you guys in the after show. Thank you for coming on tonight. My dude, AJ, how you doing, bro? You good?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. I gotta go say
job
goodnight to
secure?
my kids too. I don't know. We'll see. It's just a coin toss, bro. It's a coin toss.
Man, go ahead and put somebody on the map for us, boss.
His name was already mentioned, but I feel like I want to say Pewter. Pewter is a great dude, wonderful person, always plays the game, great energy, and I just appreciate him on a big level. So if you haven't seen him, go watch him, and I'm sure you'll have a good time.
Yes, indeed. That is one of my dudes right there. See you in the after show, good sir. Gear Master, Alex the GOAT. That's what they call you in the hood now. Alex the GOAT. Alex the GOAT. Put somebody on the map, boss.
Again, I can't call out too many names, but very recently, a couple of weeks ago, we did get a junior designer on the GS team. And this is his first gig, and he's been nails to grindstone, really helping us out. So a shout out to the fact that I got somebody helping me out with a lot of this stuff, so I can help get some of the really cool stuff out faster. So
yes, indeed.
We got somebody super enthusiastic on the team helping me out on some of this. Someone new.
It's not such a skeleton crew no more. You hear that, guys? Thank you for coming on, Al, man. Appreciate it. I will talk to you in the after show, boss. Oh, sorry. Go ahead and say goodbye. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for everybody. Thanks everybody for sticking around. It's nice to see all that.
Yes, indeed. Guys, this was the 25th episode of Excelsior Now podcast, the Avengers Summit. My co-host Bloody Reckless was not able to join us tonight. He had a family emergency, so prayer hands for that, man. Big shout out to him. But I just want to thank everybody who showed up tonight. From Alex to Johnny, the cute little cats, Kitty, AJ, Sadat the Gamer, my twin, Alien Fire, all of you guys in the chat. I mean, it's too many of y'all tonight for me to do the whole reading everybody off. It's not happening, y'all. There's a lot of y'all out there. But I just want to, as a content creator, I just want to say thank you guys for the support. Thank you for rocking with me. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you was here rocking with us. And you also you missed out on this like really pretty crazy thing that happened at the Oscars. We'll just share that real quick. I don't know why I'm sharing it, but yeah, he just smacked the shit out of dude for no reason. I mean, not no reason, but yeah, that just happened. So, wow. That's what's going down, you know what I mean? But all that said, I'm going to let my dude Johnny Rocker say one quick thing real quick, and then we're going to get up out of here. So, Johnny, go ahead and steal the show, my dude.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to say, I'm going to keep it quick. I'm sure you guys saw 24 hours ago, there was a little drama in the community, right? And some accusations got thrown against me and a lot of other folks in the community. The racism word was thrown around. And I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you guys that without me having to say a thing, everybody jumped up and defended me and let the world know that that's not what Johnny Rocker's about. I wear my heart on my sleeve with you guys. I've let you into my life. You know who I am. And I just want to tell you that means the world to me. And I just want to leave you with a little bit of wisdom like I do, chat. We are all here because of two cats, chat. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, right? Visionaries ahead of their time. And in a world to where people were bleeding for civil rights at the time, and you had wars and hate everywhere, right? And division. Stan and Jack came up with a world to where every single person on the planet's a hero, and anybody can be a hero. And we're all the same, chat. And that's something that everybody needs to think of. Whenever you feel isolated and different and alone, and you're turning to comic books or you're turning whatever, to whatever it is that gets you through, right? We are more alike as human beings than we are ever different, right? And don't let any hate monger, any politician, any media source tell you any different, right? So I just wanted to say thank you to the Avengers community for having my back. Thank you for being true believers, chat, and love you guys. Thank you.
With all of that said, I'm gonna bring the queen back. So she gonna hit y'all off with my favorite line to say. You muted, baby girl, you muted.
Sorry.
It's all good.
So let's do this again. Laissez les bons temps rouler.
Which means let the good times roll. Peace out, people, and thank you.
Excelsior Now podcast.
Excelsior!